Chapter 1510. Regardless of whether Ning Cheng's claim about fighting with the Western Buddha master was true or not, the ancestral emperor of the Witch clan didn't dare to be rude to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng had something to ask, so he quickly said, "Tao Lord Ning, please speak." Back then, many experts besieged the Five Elements Holy Emperor. The Five Elements Holy Emperor was no match for them, and in the end, he used the Worldwood to transform into Worldwood nails to force the enemies to retreat. Logically speaking, those Builderwood nails shouldn't have disappeared, so why hadn't anyone mentioned it? Don't tell me that the Builderwood became useless after it was turned into a nail? When Ning Cheng saw Yu Qing, he was so excited that he forgot to ask this question. Hong said with certainty, "Of course not. How could a primal chaos treasure like the World Tree be useless? Can the building wood nail survive?" Ning Cheng did not even care about Hong's doubts and eagerly asked. He had tested the Builderwood nail in his hand countless times, but it did not have any life aura. He had come this time to ask if the Builderwood nail could survive. Hong nodded. According to the inheritance of the Witch tribe, the Builderwood nail can indeed survive, but it's no different from not surviving. "What do you mean?" Ning Cheng asked with anticipation. Hong asked again, "Tao Lord Ning, do you know the origin of the creation wood?" "I know. Tao friend also told me last time that the world creation wood is the primal chaos wood." Ning Cheng replied. "That's right. However, when the primal chaos was removed and the universe was split apart, the world tree suffered tremendous pressure and broke. The remaining parts of the world tree turned into 4 types of trees. They were the world tree, the chaos tree, the tree of life, and the growth ring. Today, I reckon there is not a single one left." Hong sighed. Ning Cheng's heart moved. He did not know about the other trees, but he did have a sapling with tree rings. After experiencing tens of thousands of years in the mysterious yellow bead, the tree ring sapling had already grown into a tall tree. But apart from this remnant, the world tree still has a main trunk. This trunk was the real creation tree. Back then, the Five-Element Sacred Lord had obtained the creation tree trunk. The Five-Element Divine Lord turned the trunk of the creation wood into creation wood nails. Now that countless years have passed, the only way to revive the creation wood is to find the 4 types of trees that the creation wood once broke. Hearing Hong's explanation, Ning Cheng politely cupped his fists and asked, "I'd like to hear the details." Compared to these races with ancient inheritances, Ning Cheng's knowledge and strength were simply not on a par. Even if he could find all kinds of ancient bamboo slips to study, there were still many things that he didn't know. Hong said, "That is grafting. As long as we have the creation wood nails and find the 4 types of trees that were originally broken, we can use grafting to revive the creation wood and allow it to stand tall in the universe again." "Tao Lord Ning, do you know why so many other experts joined forces to deal with Divine Master 5 Elements? Isn't it because of the World Tree?" Ning Cheng had already known that so many powerhouses wanted to deal with Sacred Master 5 Elements for the sake of the World Tree. But now that Hong asked such a question, he felt a little puzzled. Hong shook his head and said, "Of course it's for the creation wood, but that's not the main reason. In fact, they want to destroy the creation wood. Because of this, many experts chose to retreat after the Five-Element Sacred Lord turned the World Tree into Worldwood nails." In fact, Ning Cheng had always had doubts in his heart. Even if the 5 Elements Sacred Lord's Builderwood nails forced the other powerhouses to leave, but he was also heavily injured. Why didn't Taoist Zixiao, who hadn't made a move, take the opportunity to attack? Besides, fighting for the World Tree didn't make it his own, but to destroy it. Wasn't that too unreasonable? Because everyone knows that once the World Tree turns into a tree in one's realm and fuses with the realm, no one will be able to resist it. After Sacred Master 5 Elements obtained the World Tree, he was besieged by many powerhouses before he could turn it into a tree in his realm, Hong explained. "Taoist Hong, you mean that those powerhouses were afraid that Sacred Master 5 Elements would turn the World Tree into a tree in his realm, so they wanted to destroy the World Tree?" "That's right. So when the World Tree was destroyed, many powerhouses chose to leave. Because of the characteristics of the World Tree, no one is destined to obtain it." Hearing Hong's words, Ning Cheng became even more interested in grafting the world tree. Western Buddha Lord Chu Pu was already very powerful. Now that he had comprehended the flowerless Great Tao, he would definitely become even more powerful. If he could graft the world tree and his strength soared, he would see how arrogant the Western Buddha Lord could be when he met him again. Taoist Hong, if there is the world tree and the branches of the other 4 kinds of world trees, how can it be grafted? Ning Cheng now had both kinds, so he didn't bother to ask ambiguously. In the 5 elements universe, his strength already stood at the peak level, so he wasn't afraid of Hong knowing about it. Hong seemed to understand Ning Cheng's thoughts and sighed. Even if someone has one of the branches of the 4 kinds of world trees and a world tree nail, it can't be grafted. Ning Cheng looked at Hong in doubt. You were the one who said that it could be grafted, and now you're saying that it can't be grafted. Hong explained, although the world tree, the chaos tree, the tree of life, and the tree of life are all treasured trees that can split the heavens and the earth, they can support a planar world. In fact, these 4 kinds of trees are just branches of the world tree and are far inferior to the world tree. So to graft, one must first undergo nirvana. Hong didn't wait for Ning Cheng to ask again and carefully explained. In fact, there is a legend in the outside world that the world tree was suppressed by the primal chaos and split into 5 kinds of trees. In addition to the world tree, the chaos tree, the tree of life, and the tree of life, there is also a tree called the nirvana tree. In fact, people don't even know what a nirvana tree is. The so-called nirvana tree refers to the world tree, the chaos tree, the tree of life, and the tree of life after undergoing nirvana. These 4 kinds of trees can only be grafted with the world tree nail after undergoing nirvana. Tao Lord Ning knows how difficult it is for this tree to undergo nirvana. For example, the world tree, after being destroyed, it turned into countless fragments scattered across the endless universe. Can you make it undergo nirvana? There is also the tree of life and the tree of life. I heard that they need to exhaust their vitality to evolve new sprouts before they can undergo nirvana. How difficult is that? If their vitality is exhausted, how can they evolve new sprouts? Ning Cheng suddenly thought of his tree of life rings. Was that nirvana? Seeing Ning Cheng thinking about it, Hong, in order to make friends with Ning Cheng, took the initiative to speak up. Even if you have the world tree, the chaos tree, the tree of life, and the tree of life after undergoing nirvana, and the world tree nail, you still can't succeed with the world tree. Ning Cheng was already thinking about how to graft the world tree, but now this old man Hong said that it was impossible. How could he not feel anxious? Hong smiled slightly. In the past, my witch race was also one of the races in the beginning of the primordial chaos. Above the 3 treasures of my witch race, there is also the foundation of my race. In my witch race, there is a mountain called Mount Wu. In Mount Wu, it is covered in mist and drizzle all year round. If you want the grafted world tree to survive, you need some rootless water from Mount Wu. Mount Wu? Ning Cheng blurted out. Wasn't the rootless water from Mount Wu the same as Mount Wu? Originally, he thought that it was just an idiom. He did not expect that Mount Wu was the foundation of the witch race. Good name. If this wasn't a treasure passed down by my witch race, it would be more appropriate to call it this name. Hong first praised the name Ning Cheng said before continuing, if Tao Lord Ning wants it, my witch race can send some rootless water from Mount Wu to Tao Lord Ning. Tao Lord Ning can pick it up from Wushuang. Hong's tone was extremely serious, as if to express how precious the thing he wanted to give Ning Cheng was. Ning Cheng understood Hong's meaning and said to Hong with cupped fists, Tao friend Hong, regardless of whether I can find the world tree nail or the nirvana tree, the witch race is my friend. Whether it is Sacred Lord Green Lotus Xing Shi or Sacred Buddha Chu Pu from the Western universe who came to the witch race, I helped them. Why did Hong have such an attitude? Wasn't it because the witch race's foundation was low and they needed his help? Thank you, Tao Lord Ning. Actually, half a year ago, someone came to my witch race to ask for this kind of rain. Hong saw that Ning Cheng understood his meaning and was even happier. By saying this, it meant that the witch race did not hide anything from Ning Cheng. Well, who was that? Ning Cheng asked. He had the sprouts of the tree rings and the world tree nail, so he urgently needed the rootless water from Mount Wu. Was there someone like him who also had these things? I don't know how strong that Dao friend is, but the witch race's restrictions and obstructions are like a flat road to him. Actually, even if the witch race did not agree, he would have easily taken away the rootless water. Fortunately, this friend was very reasonable. After taking away the rootless water, he left behind extremely generous rewards and promised to help the witch race once. Oh yes, his name is Yi Mo. Hong was praising him, but only he knew whether he was depressed or not. Ning Cheng understood. No wonder he was so strong. He and Yi Mo had worked together a few times and knew that Yi Mo's strength was definitely not below his. Oh, does Dao Lord Ning also know that Dao friend Yi? Ancestor Di Hong saw that Ning Cheng was not surprised and asked curiously. Ning Cheng nodded. That's right, I know him. This person is open and aboveboard and would not take advantage of the witch race. Since he said he would help the witch race once, he would definitely help once. As for the matter of us taking away the rootless water, I hope that Dao friend Hong can help us keep it a secret. Hong said seriously, Dao Lord Ning, don't worry. I will definitely not tell anyone else. 3 days later, Ning Cheng and Yu Qing left the witch realm under the escort of the witch race's ancestor Di Hong. There was an additional bottle of rootless water in his realm. He and Yu Qing had personally fetched it from Wu Mountain. Wu Mountain was located in the deepest part of the witch realm and was guarded by countless witch race experts. It was covered in mist and drizzled all year round. Even with Ning Cheng's strength, he could feel the benefits of the drizzling rain on Wu Mountain for cultivation. It would be great if that Wu Mountain belonged to the High Paradise Heavens. If it belonged to the High Paradise Heavens, we would be able to snatch away their things even if they suppressed Big Brother Tsang Wei. Even though they were far away from the witch world, Yu Qing was still thinking about Wu Mountain. Ning Cheng smiled. If Wu Mountain was the foundation of the High Paradise Sky, we probably wouldn't be able to do anything even if we got close. Do you think the High Paradise Sky is as strong as the witch race? The difference is like heaven and earth. I'm just worried that we won't be a match for Chu Pu after he comes out of seclusion. Yu Qing was filled with worry when she thought about the Western Buddhist master's strength. Ning Cheng said seriously, you're right. If one doesn't think about the future, there will be immediate worries. I plan to enter my realm to graft the creation wood. If there's anything urgent, wake me up. Chapter 1511. After Ning Cheng condensed his own law world, he had never planted any spiritual plants in his world. This was the first time that a nirvana tree with an annual ring was sent into his bounded domain for grafting. Ning Cheng's cultivation had already reached the realm coalescence realm. But because he had just entered the realm coalescence realm, Ning Cheng believed that as his realm coalescence realm improved, his strength would also increase rapidly. If he hadn't fought against sacred Buddha Chu Pu, Ning Cheng would not have been in such a hurry to improve his strength. In the five-element universe, he didn't dare say that he was the strongest, but no one dared to provoke him. After witnessing Holy Buddha Chu Pu's strength, Ning Cheng understood that there was always someone stronger than him. Perhaps if he didn't fight with Sage Buddha Chu Pu in the Western universe, he wouldn't be weaker than Sage Buddha Chu Pu. However, this also showed that he was not as strong as Sage Buddha Chu Pu. Sage Buddha Chu Pu was the Buddha Lord of the Western universe. Sage Buddha Chu Pu was stronger than him in the Western universe. If Sage Buddha Chu Pu was on par with him in other universes, it meant that Sage Buddha Chu Pu was stronger than him. Putting aside the fact that the Gate of Destinies was about to open, there was also a rift between him and the Yetsu Pu Buddha. If he did not increase his strength, he would probably die a horrible death when he faced Sage Buddha Chu Pu in the future. Even if Holy Buddha Chu Pu did not kill him and threw him into the heavens of ultimate bliss and turned him into a Buddhist statue, it would be worse than being killed. Yi Mo probably knew that the world tree could fuse with the realm, so he went to the witch race to ask for the rootless water. At this moment, Ning Cheng's world boundary looked gray. Although Ning Cheng had merged with his world boundary, this world boundary still contained only the laws he had condensed. These law forces were extremely powerful, but it gave Ning Cheng a feeling that something was missing. The nirvana tree with annual rings was not transparent, and one could vaguely see some of its silhouettes. On the crown of the tree, the leaves were not lush, and the aura of time was extremely faint. Ning Cheng took out the building wood nail and used his spiritual consciousness to penetrate into the building wood nail, trying to find the building wood nail and the tree ring that had the same aura. However, no matter how hard he tried, there was no resemblance between the tree rings and the builder wood nails. To be precise, the growth rings were like living ancient trees, while the creation wood nail was more like a refined magic treasure. The builder wood nail in his hand was only about 7 inches long, and the incision was in a pentagonal shape. Placing the builder wood nail next to the tree ring made him feel out of place. Ning Cheng sighed. Could this nail really be grafted onto the growth rings? If the grafting failed, then his growth rings would be destroyed. The so-called grafting of the creation wood was to cut off the tree ring at an angle, leaving only the first incision of vitality. Then, the creation wood nail had to be shaved off to be grafted with the first incision of vitality on the tree ring. If it failed, the tree ring would lose its vitality and the world tree would not be able to survive. He even lost a builder wood nail magic treasure. The mysterious very ancient clan's growth ring tree had already fused with the Grand Essence Realm's restoration. If the growth ring in his hand died due to the grafting, the first person he would have to face would be Clan Head Li Feng. Because if the grafting failed, the growth ring would be completely destroyed. Thinking of Patriarch Li Feng, Ning Cheng suddenly thought of the witch race's ancestor, Di Hong. Comparing the sorcerer race and the mysterious very ancient clan, it was unknown which clan was more ancient. Ning Cheng hesitated for a few days before finally deciding to do it. Since he had already made up his mind, Ning Cheng did not have even the slightest bit of hesitation. He raised his palm and turned it into a hand blade, directly cutting off the first entrance to the life force of the annual ring. At the same time that he cut off the growth ring, Ning Cheng unexpectedly felt the whimpering of the growth ring. Ning Cheng sighed. Survival of the fittest, perhaps this was the case. After cutting off the growth ring, Ning Cheng gathered Dao Charm on his palm and cut off a layer of refining marks on the builder wood nail. Then, at the fastest speed, he stuck the cut side of the builder wood nail and the cut side of the annual ring together. Then he condensed all kinds of Dao Charm laws on it. According to Hong's suggestion, this step was particularly crucial. It was to use one's own Dao Charm laws to nourish the grafted builder wood. According to Hong's speculation, the reason why the 5-element Divine Lord hadn't been able to fuse the creation wood into his realm in the shortest time possible was because the 5-element Divine Lord's creation wood wasn't grafted, so the Dao rune laws within it couldn't fuse with his realm. The builder wood that was more suitable for fusing with the realm was grafted with the Nirvana tree. The prerequisite condition was that the builder wood had to be nourished with one's own Dao Charm laws. Ning Cheng's Dao Charm aura permeated into the cut, and the life force that was cut off halfway slowly condensed and fused under Ning Cheng's Dao Charm laws. Time passed day by day, and Ning Cheng could clearly feel a faint trace of life force at the place where the builder wood nail and the growth ring came into contact. While Ning Cheng rejoiced, he carefully watered the rootless Mount Wu water under the roots of the grafted builder wood. As the rootless Mount Wu water was watered, the life force of the grafted builder wood became even stronger. A faint sprout emerged from the grafting interface. When this sprout appeared, Ning Cheng's entire person was shocked. At this moment, the dusky realm space had a trace of life force law aura, and Ning Cheng could feel his realm becoming clearer. As the realm became clearer, his Dao Charm also became clearer. Various embryonic forms of the realm's laws condensed in his realm. An inexplicable feeling welled up in his heart. His great Dao and spirit technique laws seemed to be growing with the growth of the bud. The idea of a new realm rose in Ning Cheng's mind. Ning Cheng understood that this was how the realm and the builder would fused. Ning Cheng slowly closed his eyes and began to feel all the changes in his realm. Previously, the laws in his realm domain increased according to his cultivation and comprehension. When he comprehended the law of darkness and condensed his own law of darkness, his realm domain had an additional law of darkness that belonged to him. But now, the laws in his realm no longer depended on his own insights. As the builder wood's bud grew, the laws in his realm automatically derived. When his world needed a certain law of heaven and earth, he would receive a message. As long as he thought about it, A new law of heaven and earth would be born in his world. Whether it was the birth of a new law or the growth of the original law, as the builder would continue to grow, his strength and realm continued to rise. The Tao charm around Ning Cheng's body naturally merged with his realm and circulated endlessly in this constantly growing world. At this moment, Ning Cheng immersed himself in it. He cultivated and comprehended as the builder wood grew, and his strength continued to grow with the growth of the builder wood. Time passed, and in a blink of an eye, decades passed. When Ning Cheng opened his eyes again, the builder wood beside him had already grown into a giant tree that was more than 10 feet tall, and its treetop extended to a radius of several dozen feet. In his world, the grafted builder wood took just a dozen years to complete the journey that its growth rings took hundreds of thousands of years to complete. His previously dusky world was now overflowing with vitality and lush greenery. A new feeling welled up in his heart, and Ning Cheng became calm instead. The sharpness around him had long since disappeared, and his whole person had become mellow and simple. He no longer had that sharp and imposing aura. Ning Cheng raised his hand slightly, and a spirit technique's Tao charm appeared. It didn't contain any techniques, nor did it contain any Tao charm. It was as if the spirit technique had existed since ancient times. He just raised his hand and pulled back the veil of the Tao charm that already existed. So this is the third stage. Ning Cheng muttered to himself. He no longer felt any joy. It was as if everything had happened naturally. In the past, he had always thought that his Tao had already reached the third stage. Only today did he understand that his previous third stage was only a subconscious third stage. He had not truly reached the third stage. What a joke! He had always thought that he had given Sage Buddha Chu Pu some pointers. Sage Buddha Chu Pu had indeed received some unintentional pointers from him, but what he comprehended wasn't the subconscious third stage. Instead, it was the same as him now, the real third stage. The mountain was still the mountain, and the water was still the water. At this moment, he felt just like Ning Cheng who had just left Earth. Countless years had passed in between, but all these years had turned into smoke and dissipated at this moment. Ning Cheng showed a slight smile. If he stood in the high paradise heaven at this moment, he would have used the same two fingers to pinch Sage Buddha Chu Pu's flower fingers. With a thought, Ning Cheng raised his hand and grabbed the everlasting Blue Thunder City. He then sent a few strands of vitality laws into the Blue Thunder City. The artifact spirit, who had been sleeping since the good fortune indestructible Axe's axe intent, woke up easily. The Thunder City's artifact spirit immediately understood what was going on and thanked Ning Cheng in surprise. You've been asleep for too long. Merge with the Blue Thunder City first. Ning Cheng smiled. With his current strength, the good fortune Blue Thunder City wouldn't help him much. What made him sigh was the change in strength after grafting the creation wood. Even after merging with the realms, he couldn't restore the Thunder City's artifact spirit. But now, he only needed a few strands of vitality laws. Big brother, did you come out? Did the tree survive? Seeing Ning Cheng come out, Yu Qing immediately stood up and asked in surprise. Only she knew that Ning Cheng had gone into seclusion to graft the creation wood. Ning Cheng took Yu Qing's hand and nodded. It's a success. We don't have to fear that monk anymore. Hey, you're already at Lead Mountain? I just arrived. Since you didn't come out of seclusion, I waited here. Yu Qing felt extremely happy. Ning Cheng had successfully grafted the creation wood and no longer had to fear Sage Buddha Chu Pu. Let's go to Lead Mountain and have a look. As Ning Cheng spoke, his spiritual consciousness penetrated into the huge mountain range that stretched for hundreds of millions of miles. Before going into seclusion, he had told Yu Qing to go to Lead Mountain to look for the Starry Sky Wheel's artifact spirit. The Starry Sky Wheel tore through space and entered Lead Mountain. Yu Qing then stood beside Ning Cheng and said, Big brother Ning, a lot of people have been heading to Jiaoyang Mountain recently. I don't know what's going on. Lead Mountain wasn't far from Jiaoyang Mountain. Yu Qing had been waiting for Ning Cheng to come out of seclusion in Lead Mountain. Therefore, she could naturally sense the people entering Jiaoyang Mountain. Ning Cheng pondered for a moment before speaking. The first time the Good Fortune Gate opened was near Jiaoyang Mountain. Since the second time the good fortune gate opens is getting closer and closer, it should mean that something has changed in Jiaoyang Mountain. After we collect the Starry Sky Wheel's artifact spirit, we should also go and have a look. Chapter 1512. The lead mountain range actually belonged to an uninhabited domain. The spirit chi in this place was weak, and the laws here were vague. Because of this place generally didn't have any treasures, and no one was willing to open up a cave in this place to cultivate. Plus, the location of the lead mountain wasn't very good. Although it was close to the Jiaoyang Mountain, it was only equivalent to a third-step expert like Ning Cheng. 4 ordinary starry sky cultivators, the closest place to the Jiaoyang Mountain was the immortal falling boat Void City. Mang Yong had told Ning Cheng about the Starry Sky Wheel's artifact spirit in the lead mountain, so Ning Cheng believed that Mang Yong wouldn't speak nonsense. If Mang Yong spoke nonsense, he wouldn't have recognized his Starry Sky Wheel. With Ning Cheng and Yu Qing's speed, even the hundreds of millions of miles of the lead mountain range would only take them a short distance. In less than half an incense stick worth of time, Ning Cheng and Yu Qing landed outside a tumbling magma lake. Moreover, he and Yu Qing didn't rush over. If he were alone, he could even reach this place from outside the lead mountain range in just one step. Huh, there's a cave here? Who would cultivate here? Yu Qing saw the cave on the edge of the magma lake and exclaimed. Yu Qing focused on Ning Cheng along the way and didn't pay attention to her surroundings at all. Ning Cheng had already seen the cave on the edge of the magma lake that Mang Yong had mentioned. This cave had a spiritual consciousness shielding array, but he didn't use his spiritual consciousness to break it. Someone is indeed cultivating here, but this magma lake isn't simple. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept into the magma lake. The magma lake had a radius of 10,000 feet, and the magma inside was brownish-red in color. It looked like tofu in a pot of boiling oil, constantly tumbling. A scorching hot aura assaulted his face. At the surface of the magma lake, the temperature seemed to be within the normal range of magma, but every 10 feet or so deeper, the temperature would double. Even with Ning Cheng's strength, he couldn't see the bottom of the magma lake. The deeper his spiritual consciousness went, the deeper the obstruction became. When he got close to the bottom of the magma lake, his spiritual consciousness even started to burn, which showed how amazing this magma lake was. Hearing Ning Cheng's words, Yu Qing's spiritual consciousness penetrated into the magma lake. She immediately felt that the magma lake was not ordinary. Her spiritual consciousness was much weaker than Ning Cheng's, and the depth of her contact was much shallower. Therefore, when she retracted her spiritual consciousness, she could not clearly see what was at the bottom of the magma lake. Big brother, given the temperature, will something happen to the artifact spirit? Yu Qing asked worriedly. Ning Cheng also had some doubts, but he did not answer Yu Qing's words, as his gaze fell onto the immortal cave not far away. The restrictions on the cave abode were activated, and the person inside was about to come out. It's been a long time since we last met. Brother Ning's strength has long since surpassed mine. A figure hurriedly walked out of the immortal cave and greeted Ning Cheng with cupped fists. Ning Cheng showed a faint smile. I was wondering who was cultivating here. It turns out to be Dao friend Mang. Mang Yong only had one goal for cultivating here, and that was to wait for him here. Otherwise, cultivating in this place with weak laws and void of God's spiritual energy would be like trying to fish from a tree. Mang Yong's realm had already reached the late-stage Dao integration realm, which showed that his aptitude and opportunities were equally impressive. Ning Cheng remembered that when he and Mang Yong had separated on the Jiaoyang Mountain, Mang Yong had only reached the primordial Dao realm. At the same time, this fellow's luck was also extraordinary. Ning Cheng had thought that this fellow had died during the fusion in the Jiaoyang Sea. He had not expected that he would still be alive. Brother Ning, I've been waiting for you here, Mang Yong said hurriedly. He was secretly shocked when he saw Ning Cheng. He had thought that he had reached the late-stage primordial chaos realm and that Ning Cheng was at most at this level. However, he could not see Ning Cheng's cultivation level at all. Ning Cheng looked like an ordinary person without any abnormalities. Mang Yong would never think that Ning Cheng was an ordinary person. It was not the first time he had dealt with Ning Cheng. He could never see through Ning Cheng's trump cards, which made him feel very afraid of Ning Cheng. It was not realistic that Ning Cheng had reached the third step, but he had most likely reached the perfected Dao integration realm. Ning Cheng nodded. "Dao friend Mang, please speak." His deal with Mang Yong had already ended, but he had not had the time to collect the Starry Sky Wheel's artifact spirit. "I wonder if Brother Ning knows about the mountain gaze?" Mang Yong asked carefully. He guessed that Ning Cheng was stronger than him. Moreover, he had hidden something from Ning Cheng when he had made a deal with him. The Starry Sky Wheel's artifact spirit was in the magma lake, but one could not enter the magma lake without reaching the perfected Dao integration realm. "I know. The gate of fortune opens in front of the mountain gaze," said Ning Cheng. He had once befriended Dao Lord Mountain Gaze, but Dao Lord Mountain Gaze's mountain gaze was fake. The real mountain gaze was the mountain gaze after the Jiaoyang mountain. The real mountain gaze would only appear when the gate of fortune was about to open. Mang Yong said solemnly, "Brother Ning, do you know that the mountain gaze has already appeared?" "The mountain gaze has appeared?" Ning Cheng was shocked. The appearance of the mountain gaze meant that the gate of fortune was about to open. It seemed that he had to quickly collect the Starry Sky Wheel's artifact spirit and go back to prepare to snatch the gate of fortune. Mang Yong said affirmatively, "The mountain gaze has really appeared. Although it's just an outline, it's majestic and breathtaking. The Dao rune law of heaven and earth is extremely clear. Countless people are rushing to the mountain gaze. Some people want to cultivate closer to the mountain gaze, while others want to obtain some opportunities at the foot of the mountain gaze." "How many years has it been since the mountain gaze appeared?" Ning Cheng asked hurriedly. "Nearly 1,000 years, that's impossible." Ning Cheng interrupted Mang Yong, feeling extremely puzzled. There was no reason for him not to know that the mountain gaze had appeared for 1,000 years. Even if the news could not reach the grand essence realm, he still had some strength in the heavens beyond of heaven and earth. Mang Yong quickly explained, "Brother Ning, the mountain gaze was only confirmed in the last 2 or 3 years. It was just an outline before. Countless people want to get close to the mountain gaze, but no matter how fast they are, they can only see the outline of the mountain. They can't walk to the front of the mountain gaze at all. 3 years ago, the outline of the mountain gaze became clearer. Only then did someone confirm that it was the mountain gaze." "Then why are you waiting for me here?" After knowing that the mountain gaze had appeared, Ning Cheng did not want to stay here any longer. "Brother Ning, I've been on the Jiaoyang mountain. In fact, I already knew that the outline was the mountain gaze. I also know that it's difficult to get close to the mountain gaze with my second step strength." Ning Cheng interrupted Mang Yong again. He understood what Mang Yong meant and said faintly, "So you plan to use my Starry Sky Wheel to send you to the mountain gaze?" Since Mang Yong dared to cooperate with him here, he definitely did not know what he had done in the chaotic void. Otherwise, Mang Yong would not have dared to stay here and wait for him even if he had 10,000 guts. Mang Yong was also a well-informed person. Even if he did not know about the chaotic inner realm, the only possibility was that this guy had not come out of seclusion for a long time, or he had just come out of the Jiaoyang Sea. Mang Yong said very seriously, "That's right. Brother Ning, theoretically, it's impossible to reach the mountain gaze. However, I don't think it's because it's impossible, but because it's not fast enough. As long as you have enough speed, you can definitely reach the mountain gaze. As soon as I came out of seclusion, I thought of Brother Ning. Only after Brother Ning's Starry Sky Wheel and the Starry Sky Wheel's artifact spirit merge would you have a real chance to get close to the mountain gaze. Brother Ning also knows that my strength is about to reach the full circle of Dao integration. I'm sure that I can reach the full circle of Dao integration on the way to the mountain gaze. I believe that Brother Ning is already half step into the third step. With our strength, how many people can stop us in front of the mountain gaze?" Ning Cheng laughed in his heart. How long had Mang Yong been in seclusion? The chaotic void had shattered, and many powerhouses had come out. Besides, when the gate of good fortune opened, powerhouses from other places would also come over. 2 Dao integration cultivators wanted to compete in front of the mountain gaze. How strong was their nervous system? So you came here to see if the Starry Sky Wheel's artifact spirit is still there. If it's not there, you will give up. If it's there, you will wait here for me to take the Starry Sky Wheel's artifact spirit, right? Ning Cheng's tone remained calm. Mang Yong quickly said, "That's right. Brother Ning, this opportunity is really rare. I'm not interested. I'm going to look for the Starry Sky Wheel's artifact spirit. Taoist Mang, please make way." Ning Cheng refused without hesitation. What kind of joke was this? He was an integration realm expert. Why would he cooperate with someone who hadn't even reached the third step and bring him to the mountain gaze? Besides, what benefits would he get from this cooperation? Brother Ning, don't be in such a hurry to refuse. You know that even if we are half step into the third step, it's still not enough to compete for the gate of good fortune. I know a secret about the mountain gaze. As long as we can reach this place ahead of time, it's very likely that we can truly reach the third step when the gate of good fortune opens. Mang Yong deliberately paused and looked at Ning Cheng. He wasn't afraid that Ning Cheng would disagree. The gate of good fortune was destined to be a battlefield for third step experts. If they wanted to gain a foothold in the gate of good fortune, they had to reach the third step. Ning Cheng hadn't expected Mang Yong to have such self-awareness. He knew that the gate of good fortune was a place for third step experts to compete for. Unfortunately, Mang Yong hadn't noticed that Ning Cheng had already reached the third step and had even integrated the primordial Dao runes. Moreover, Ning Cheng had recently grafted the creation wood, which allowed his strength to rise to a higher level. However, many of the people around him hadn't reached the third step. If he could obtain Mang Yong's secret, he would have more helpers when the gate of good fortune opened in the future. What's the secret? Ning Cheng stared at Mang Yong and asked. Mang Yong chuckled, "As long as we reach the mountain gaze, I will definitely take Brother Ning there." Ning Cheng ignored Mang Yong and said to Yu Qing, "I'm going down to look for the Starry Sky Wheel. Do you want to go down with me or stay here and wait for me?" "Of course, we're going down together." Yu Qing glanced at Mang Yong and thought to herself that he actually wanted to trade with Ning Cheng for reaching the third step. "Okay, then let's go." While speaking, Ning Cheng took Yu Qing's hand and jumped into the magma lake. After Ning Cheng jumped into the boiling magma lake, it automatically parted to form a passage. Mang Yong, who remained outside the magma lake, felt a little stunned. He suddenly realized that he seemed to have made a mistake. Was Ning Cheng really at Dao integration? Chapter 15:13. If Ning Cheng wasn't at Dao integration, it meant that Ning Cheng had already reached the third step. But how was that possible? If the third step was so easy to reach, it wouldn't be so hard to find one in 10 million years. He had once misjudged Ning Cheng's cultivation. Perhaps today was the second time he had misjudged Ning Cheng's cultivation. Mang Yong's expression kept changing. If Ning Cheng wasn't at Dao integration but at creation realm, how would he face Ning Cheng? Should he continue to call Ning Cheng senior? If he had known that Ning Cheng had reached the third step, he definitely wouldn't have called him Brother Ning, and would have still called him senior. No, if he had known that Ning Cheng had reached the third step, he wouldn't have stayed here to wait for Ning Cheng to cooperate. Mang Yong stared at the magma lake, and a feeling rose in his heart that he was always a little bit behind Ning Cheng. Laws crisscrossed around Ning Cheng, and the rolling magma in the magma lake could only tumble within a few feet of Ning Cheng and Yu Qing. It couldn't get close to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng's speed of descent was not very fast, but after half an incense stick worth of time, he arrived at a place where his spiritual consciousness couldn't penetrate before. It looked like the bottom of the magma lake, but Ning Cheng was sure that this was not the bottom of the lake. There was a rugged place under his feet, as if there were many bubbles floating on the surface of the water. The brown magma constantly trembled, making one's scalp tingle. The surrounding magma was even more violent, but unfortunately, this violence had no effect on Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness penetrated it again, but he still couldn't see through it. With Yu Qing in his arms, he landed on the lava. The magma was like a steamed bun that had just come out of the steamer, and it was extremely soft. It's strange. This thing looks very soft, but why can't my spiritual consciousness penetrate it? Yu Qing said doubtfully. Ning Cheng condensed a handprint and grabbed the magma under his feet. Ning Cheng's Dao runes gathered, and the laws turned into the sharpest blade in the universe, which easily cut off the magma. A bright red mist sprayed out, just like blood, with a faint fishy smell. At the same time, incomparably rich spiritual spirit essence qi and clear laws of heaven and earth appeared. It felt as if the magma had covered the area before, but after Ning Cheng cut open the magma, it suddenly leaked out. The seemingly endless mass of magma under Ning Cheng and Yu Qing's feet felt as if someone had cut off a piece of their flesh, causing them to tremble and even give off a sense of contraction. It's like it's alive. Yu Qing felt the lava lump beneath her feet twitch in pain, and she subconsciously floated in the air. Ning Cheng looked at the magma bundle in his hand and nodded. They do have life. If I'm not mistaken, these things should be formed from the fetal membranes left behind when the chaotic universe split apart. Ning City had a piece of universe membrane, so he was somewhat familiar with it. The magma here should be the result of a fetal membrane fusing with the magma lake over a long period of time. You're saying that the fetal membranes fell here and then fused with the magma lake to form this place? Yu Qing asked. Ning Cheng showed a slight smile. If that's the case, then it's not a big deal. But someone had fused the fetal membranes and magma here to cultivate and eventually sucked away all the heaven and earth essence qi in the entire lead mountain. When I tear open the bottom of the magma lake formed by the fetal membranes, I'll know who's hiding here. After saying this, Ning Cheng's Dao charm rolled up and a powerful aura seeped out. With this kind of violent aura, one didn't even need to tear it apart. Just the aura alone could crush all the wills around it. Dao friend, please stop. I've already fused this fetal membrane into my domain. Even if Dao friend breaks open this place, it would only harm others without benefiting yourself. Just when Ning Cheng was about to take action, a sudden voice arrived. Presumably, you're the Starry Sky Wheels artifact spirit I'm looking for, right? I didn't expect you to hide here and fuse with the fetal membrane. It looks like you've gained some cultivation. Ning Cheng spoke with a sarcastic tone. He had already sensed that the Starry Sky Wheels artifact spirit was below. Otherwise, he would have directly torn open the fetal membrane at the bottom of the lake. Yes. The Starry Sky Wheels artifact spirit quickly responded. Dao friend has the Starry Sky Wheel. I should have come with you and become the Starry Sky Wheels artifact spirit again. It's just that I've found a new place to reside in, so I can't go with Dao friend for the time being. The Starry Sky Wheels artifact spirit's voice arrived, indicating that it didn't want to leave with Ning Cheng. After Ning Cheng realized that the magma fetal membrane had something to do with the Starry Sky Wheels artifact spirit, he understood that the Starry Sky Wheels artifact spirit would not leave with him. Even if he had the Starry Sky Wheel, the artifact spirit wouldn't leave with him. For the Starry Sky Wheels artifact spirit, even if it merged with the Starry Sky Wheel again, it would still be an artifact spirit. But now, the Starry Sky Wheels artifact spirit had found the fetal membrane and obtained the Dao under this magma lake. As long as its cultivation reached perfection, it could live freely like an ordinary cultivator. Just like the indestructible axe, once it gained its own consciousness, it naturally wouldn't want to recognize another master. Of course, Ning Cheng could also forcibly tear open the Starry Sky Wheels artifact spirit's parasitic fetal membrane and then refine the artifact spirit to forcibly fuse with the Starry Sky Wheel. However, Ning Cheng couldn't do such a thing. Everyone had their own opportunities, so there was no need to force it. Besides, if the Starry Sky Wheels artifact spirit didn't want to go with him, it would be the Starry Sky Wheels artifact spirit's loss. If he stepped into the gate of good fortune in the future, the weapons around him would naturally have a place for themselves. If the Starry Sky Wheels artifact spirit followed him, the benefits it would obtain would be far greater than staying in this place and fusing with the fetal membrane. Since Meng Yong knew that you were here, then I guess that you did it on purpose, right? Ning Cheng spoke with a sneer. Although the Starry Sky Wheel's artifact spirit didn't want to integrate with the Starry Sky Wheel, this artifact spirit had a big heart and wanted to own the Starry Sky Wheel. Because of this, it deliberately leaked its tracks, luring Meng Yong or someone else to bring the Starry Sky Wheel here to fuse with it. As long as the starry sky wheel was brought with it, it would become the personal belonging of the artifact spirit and would no longer have anything to do with the person who brought it. It's just that the starry sky wheel's artifact spirit did not expect that it would attract the starry sky wheel. However, the owner of the starry sky wheel was so powerful that it could only look up to it. Even the magma lake could not stop him in the slightest. As long as he wanted to, he could easily crush this artifact spirit to death at any time. Fellow Taoist, I have something to discuss with you. The starry sky wheel's artifact spirit had just spoken half a sentence when Ning Cheng, together with Yu Qing, rushed out of the magma lake's bottom. He didn't bother to listen to this artifact spirit. Since it didn't want to go with the starry sky wheel, then they would part ways without further ado. From now on, the starry sky wheel's artifact spirit would no longer have anything to do with the starry sky wheel. Sensing Ning Cheng's departure, the artifact spirit snorted. It would wait until its cultivation reached perfection before looking for Ning Cheng to settle accounts. That person is gone. Outside the magma lake, Meng Yong's shadow had long since disappeared. Only a jade strip remained suspended in front of Meng Yong's cave. Ning Cheng raised his hand and grabbed the jade strip, and Meng Yong's image appeared in the jade strip. Brother Ning, this little brother's cultivation speed can never catch up with Brother Ning. Brother Ning is a magnanimous person and doesn't mind this little brother. This little brother also doesn't dare to continue cooperating with Brother Ning. This little brother obtained an ancient cave in the Jiaoliang mountain. The cave mentioned that there is a grand Tao abyss at the foot of the mountain. Only by finding the Tao abyss can I comprehend the supreme Tao in the shortest time and reach the third step. This little brother doesn't know the exact location of the Tao abyss. Please forgive me, Brother Ning. This person is quite interesting. Yu Qing, who had also seen the image left by Meng Yong, said with a smile. Ning Cheng squeezed his hand and the jade strip shattered. Then, he said with a slight smile, this person is a real villain. When we first cooperated, Brother Ning came first and Brother Ning came second. Later, when he discovered that my strength far surpassed his, he immediately became very respectful and changed the way he addressed me. This time, he probably advanced to the late-stage Tao integration realm and thought that he had some capital. He called me Brother Ning and wanted to cooperate with me to use my starry sky wheel. I didn't expect to discover that I was far stronger than him. I'm afraid that he didn't have the face to stay here. Yu Qing smiled. He probably wasn't afraid of losing face, but afraid that you would kill him. Therefore, when he left, he sent the secret of the mountain gaze to me. Ning Cheng didn't care and took Yu Qing's hand. Let's go back to the Grand Essence realm. Call Le Fei and Qianghua to go to the mountain gaze together. Since the mountain gaze had appeared and the gate of fortune was about to open, Ning Cheng decided to go to the mountain gaze first. After the appearance of the mountain gaze, the opening time of the creation gate was uncertain. It would be beneficial for him to go earlier. After the opening of the creation gate, it wouldn't be a competition between one person but countless people. This included the universe, planes, realms, planets, sects, races. If Meng Yong hadn't lied to him and there really was a Tao abyss at the foot of the mountain gaze, it would definitely be a good thing for his people. Chapter 15:14. Because Heavens Beyond had been redivided, the current Heavens Beyond was completely different from the one Ning Cheng had first come to. Most of the experts from the many planes around Heavens Beyond had gathered there. Coupled with the appearance of the mountain gaze, more experts had come. However, no one dared to cause trouble there. Not only were there two top sects, the mysterious Yellow Sect and the Sacred Tao Sect, but there was also a group of third-step experts led by Mountain Gaze Tao Lord. Heavens Beyond's heavenly lord, Feng Huangmei, was not strong and was just a pseudo-realm. However, no one dared to refute or disobey Feng Huangmei's words. This was because Feng Huangmei had a deep relationship with Sacred Tao Sect Master Yi Mo and Mysterious Yellow Sect Master Ning Cheng. At this moment, many experts had already gathered in the Mysterious Yellow Sect in Heavens Beyond. In addition to Ning Cheng, Shi Qianghua, Ji Lufei, Yan Ji, Yu Qin, Ning Ruolin, Ao Wu, Ning Ruoqing, and Yi Chu Manha, Earth Tao Lord Shen Yun, Dao Lord Human King Kong Zai, Xiao Xinxi, Aokan Old Chi, Zhong Wuchen, Isa and his wife, Dao Lord Burning Talisman, almost everyone who was qualified to participate in the Gate of Fortune competition and had a close relationship with Ning Cheng was there. Although Li Feng was qualified to come here, he was unwilling. He wanted to stay in the Great Essence Realm to protect it. After Ning Cheng left, he would become the new Dao Lord of the Great Essence Dao Court. However, given his Dao Integration Realm, it would be difficult for him to avoid the Gate of Fortune. Unfortunately, Ning Cheng couldn't find Pan Qian and Qi Shizingsing. Even Ning Cheng couldn't find Yanyan. As for Tai Shu Shi and Jing Wuming, Ning Cheng estimated that they did not have the strength to participate in the Gate of Fortune competition. With the appearance of the Mountain Gaze, the Gate of Fortune will open at any time. After the Gate of Fortune opens, the competition will be very fierce, and it will not be a matter for one person. The people sitting here are all our people. If you have any opinions, you can voice them out. After we reach an agreement, we will go to the Mountain Gaze, Ning Cheng said straightforwardly. Even though his spiritual consciousness did not cover the entire heavens beyond, he could sense the changes in the place. Be it sects or the major realms, they were all gathered in the beyond of heaven and earth. Some of them had even formed teams and set off for Mount Gazing Jiaoliang. Dao Lord Ning, we have quite a number of people, but I have something to say that might not be very pleasant. The first to stand up and speak was Dao Lord Burning Talisman. Among all the people here, Dao Lord Burning Talisman had the least friendship with Ning Cheng. However, he and Ning Cheng were in an alliance. Although the strength of Burning Talismans was only on the same level as Xin Yun, but his talismans were definitely first class. The creation war was not only a competition of strength, but also a competition of attrition. Dao Lord Burning Talisman had provided him with all sorts of talismans. No matter how powerful Ning Cheng was, he couldn't take care of everyone. Once the Good Fortune War broke out, the more protective treasures he had, the better. Ning Cheng spoke up with a straight face, Dao Friend Burning Talisman, if you have something to say, then please say it. It might not be nice to say it now, but it won't be nice to say it when the creation war begins. Burning Talisman nodded and said, Dao Lord Ning, fellow Taoists, the truth is that many people from our mysterious yellow sect are participating in the Gate of Fortune. To be honest, those who were truly powerful were not considered strong. In fact, they were quite weak. If we were to participate in the Gate of Fortune with such strength, perhaps. Burning Talisman did not finish his sentence, but Ning Cheng understood what he meant. According to Burning Talisman, there were dozens of people here, but he estimated that there were only 7 or 8 true experts. Dao Lord Ning, once the Gate of Fortune opens, it will be difficult for Dao Lord Ning to prevent others from dying, even if he has exceptional abilities. There are dozens of people here, but perhaps less than half of them will survive. This is also if we can occupy a place in the Gate of Fortune. Otherwise, Burning Talisman's words made everyone fall silent. Once the Gate of Fortune opened, it would be a battle of life and death. Even Ning Cheng fell silent. If he could avoid participating in the Gate of Fortune, he really would not participate. When the Gate of Fortune opened, the Heaven-Earth Dao law would change. As long as one reached Dao integration, one had to participate. Even some perfected primordial chaos sacred emperors had to advance to Dao integration under the sudden surge of the Heaven-Earth Dao and then participate in the competition. Taking a step back, Ning Cheng had to participate even if he was not bound by the Heaven-Earth Dao law. Once someone entered the Gate of Fortune first and obtained a place. Who could be sure that those who did not enter the Gate of Fortune would not become ants under the experts who entered the Gate of Fortune? Whether it was Xing Shi, Qin Mutian or Sacred Buddha Chu Pu, who would spare Ning Cheng's life when they could control his fate. After a long time, Ning Cheng said, I can open a passage between you and the mysterious yellow bead. Once there is any danger, you can immediately enter the mysterious yellow bead through the void teleportation passage. This time, there was no need for Burning Talisman to speak. Xiao Xinxi shook her head and said, Brother Ning, this won't work. As long as you participate in the Gate of Fortune competition, you will be bound by the creation law. Before the outcome is determined, you cannot leave through any teleportation. Unless your current nomological world is stronger than the creation law, it would be very difficult. I have never heard of anyone stepping into the creation realm without entering the gate of fortune. Ning Cheng's heart sank. He looked at Ji Luofei and the others and said, Luofei, you haven't reached the third step yet. Stay in the mysterious yellow bead. Ji Luofei shook her head. Husband, let's not talk about whether the mysterious yellow bead can hide my Tao integration aura in the gate of fortune. Even if it can, I will not stay in the mysterious yellow bead. We will live together and die together. Luofei, if the competition is too strong and we all die, what about Jiangzhou? Ning Cheng blurted out. Ning Jiangzhou was Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei's first son. Luofei looked at Ning Cheng and said softly, as long as there is one person in the mysterious yellow sect, Jiangzhou will be fine. How could she be willing to leave Jiangzhou? In the face of such a life and death battle, how could she hide and let someone weaker than Ning Cheng bear the burden? Tao Lord Burning Talisman took the initiative to speak up. Tao Lord Ning, Fairy Ji is at the Tao integration realm. There is no way for her to avoid the battle for the Gate of Fortune. That's one of the reasons. Secondly, it's also related to everyone's position in the Gate of Fortune. If you don't participate in the battle for the Gate of Fortune, even if you enter the Gate of Fortune, you won't have a position. Shi Qianghua, who was sitting next to Ning Cheng, suddenly spoke up. Husband, Sister Lu, leave Jiangzhou to me. I won't participate. The assembly hall turned silent once again. Shi Qianghua didn't want to participate in the Great War of Fortune not because she was afraid of death, but because she knew that if she participated in the Great War of Fortune, she would only implicate Ning Cheng and everyone else. Her cultivation had yet to recover, so it was best for her to stay. Ning Cheng nodded in agreement. Shi Qianghua spoke up again. I want to stay in husband's world, not in the mysterious yellow beads world, nor in the grand essence realm or anywhere else. Ning Cheng sighed. How could he not understand Shi Qianghua's meaning? If he fell in the battle for the Gate of Fortune, his world would definitely turn into nothingness. Shi Qianghua wanted to go with him. If she stayed in the mysterious yellow bead, it would most likely fall into someone else's hands. Okay, you can stay in my world. Ning Cheng understood Shi Qianghua's temperament and knew that such a thing couldn't be changed. Big brother Ning, there are 2 women outside asking to see you. They said they have something important to discuss with Big Brother. At this moment, Ali walked to the entrance of the hall and said, 2 women? Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept out and immediately saw a woman wearing a blue robe and a woman wearing a purple floral robe. He knew both of them. One was called Yi Yimo, probably the daughter of Sacred Tao sect Master Yimo. The other was Tian Yuan. Ning Cheng thought that he would never have any interaction with them again. He didn't expect these 2 to come to him. I'll go see them. Everyone disperse first and prepare yourselves. Ning Cheng stood up and said, the battle for the Gate of Fortune relied on hard power. If there was no good way, continuing to discuss like this wouldn't have any effect. Since Yi Yimo came to find him at this juncture, it most likely had something to do with Yi Mo. Ning Cheng knew that Yi Mo's strength was definitely not below his. If they fought for the Gate of Fortune, he might face Yi Mo. In fact, Ning Cheng would rather face anyone. Even if it was the Western Buddha Bi Chu Pu or Qin Mutian. He didn't want to face Yi Mo. Firstly, he didn't know how strong Yi Mo was. Secondly, he owed Yi Mo a favor. Thirdly, they both came from Earth and appreciated each other. Chapter 1515. Big Brother Ning. Yi Mo immediately stood up when she saw Ning Cheng come in. Tian Yuan also stood up. She suddenly felt very unfamiliar with Ning Cheng and didn't even know what to call Ning Cheng. Congratulations on reaching the 3rd step. Let's sit down and talk. Ning Cheng looked at Yi Mo and knew that she had reached the 3rd step. Compared to Big Brother Ning, my cultivation level is far inferior. Yi Mo smiled. Yi Mo nodded to Tian Yuan and said, Yuan, sit down too. Tian Yuan sighed and sat down with them. When Ning Cheng called her Mu Wan, it was calm and without any fluctuations, without even the slightest fluctuation. Fellow Taoist Yi Mo, you seem a little worried. I don't know if I can help you? Ning Cheng asked with a smile after pouring a cup of spirit tea for the two of them. Yi Yimo hesitated for a long time before saying, "Big Brother Ning, the appearance of the mountain gaze means that the gate of fortune is about to open. Uncle Ding told me that if there was a final battle for the gate of fortune, it would most likely be Big Brother Ning and my father." Ning Cheng asked, "Are you talking about Dao friend Ding Jie?" Yi Yimo nodded. "Yes, Big Brother Luo said the same thing." Ning Cheng fell silent. He somewhat understood why Yi Yimo had come. After a while, he said, "Yimo, if it was before I went to the Western universe, I would have had the same thought. In fact, in the vast void of the universe, experts were as numerous as the clouds. There were simply too many to count. There are people stronger than me and your father, but they rarely come out to fight, so no one knows." Ning Cheng thought of the Western universe's Buddhist Lord Chu Pu and the mysterious Taoist Zi Shao. If the two of them also participated in the battle for the Gate of Fortune, then he and Yi Mo might just be one of the competitors. They wouldn't have much of an advantage over the others. Yimo shook her head. "Big Brother Ning, I've seen your ability. If it wasn't for you, I would have died many times. In the vast universe, I feel that if I had to find someone who could compete with my father, it would definitely be Big Brother Ning. Even if this universe is as Big Brother Ning said, with countless powerhouses, Big Brother Ning and my father might end up in a showdown." Ning Cheng didn't feel he and Yi Mo were the strongest, but he felt Yi Mo was right about one thing. In the fight for the Gate of Fortune, he and Yi Mo might have a final showdown. "Maybe you're right." Ning Cheng spoke with a sigh. The competition for the Gate of Good Fortune didn't involve giving in. Plus, he didn't have the right to give in to you, Big Brother Ning. "I came here because I have a difficult request, but I have to say it." Yimo's tone was somewhat hesitant. Ning Cheng vaguely guessed a few things, and gave a dark sigh in his heart. However, he still spoke up, "Dao friend Yimo, we have already experienced life and death together, so if you have anything to say, you don't have to be polite. If Big Brother gets the upper hand, please show mercy to my dad." Yimo stood up again and bowed. With Divine Dao sect leader Yimo's power, it would be suicide for him to show mercy to Yi Mo at the crucial moment. Yi Mo looked at Tian Muan and finally realized why Tian Muan came here with him. Although he and Tian Mu Wan had experienced life and death together, but Tian Mu Wan was his first love. Tian Muan owed Yi Mo a lot. If she came here to ask for mercy, he wouldn't reject it no matter what. It wasn't until this time that Tian Mu Wan understood why Yi Mo had pulled her along. Although she didn't feel comfortable, she still wanted to know if Ning Cheng would agree to Yi Mo's request because of her. "Okay, if that really happens, I will do as you say." Ning Cheng took a deep breath and said. The reason he agreed was because Tian Muan was one of the reasons, but there was another more important reason. If he couldn't get the first place, he would rather fight for Yi Mo and not Chu Pu Divine Buddha or Qin Mutian. Plus, Yi Mo helped him. Even if he had the chance to kill Yi Mo, it wouldn't be easy. He didn't interact much with Yi Mo and didn't know much about her personality. But as a daughter, it was normal for her to worry about her father. "Many thanks, Big Brother Ning. Yi Mo will take her leave now." Yi Mo once again gave a deep bow to Ning Cheng, and then slowly left with Tian Mu Wan. Tian Muan sighed. She mustered up her courage and wanted to say a few words to Ning Cheng. But after seeing Ning Cheng, her courage disappeared. "Sister, you must have asked sect leader to show mercy to Xiao Cheng, right?" Tian Muan knew Yi Mo better than Ning Cheng. When she heard Yi Mo asking Ning Cheng, she knew that Yi Mo must have asked sect leader Yi Mo to let Ning Cheng go first before coming to beg Ning Cheng. Otherwise, she wouldn't have come here. Yi Mo looked at the busy square and sighed. "I don't know if what I did was right or wrong, but I really don't want them to have a life and death battle." "You were afraid Xiao Cheng wouldn't agree, so you dragged me here?" Tian Muan laughed in self-mockery. "Sorry, I thought you thought it through. I did bring you here for this purpose, and I want you to restore your original relationship with Brother Ning. But you didn't say a word from beginning to end." "Sai, Muan, why can't you talk like this in front of Xiao Cheng even though you can call him Xiao Cheng?" "Perhaps. I called him Xiao Cheng somewhere else because I wanted to find those memories of the past. People change after all. Many years later, I might no longer call myself Xiao Cheng, but Sect Master Ning or Dao Monarch Ning. Just like how you call your father, didn't you call him father too? Yi Mo didn't continue the question. Instead, she asked, Muwen, do you think I did the right thing? I don't know. If it's really as Xiaoqing said and there are many people in this universe who are stronger than him and the sect leader, then perhaps the final fight isn't between Xiaoqing and the sect leader. I hope so. Yi Mo murmured. She didn't know if she hoped that such a powerful being wouldn't appear or that Ning Cheng and Yi Mo wouldn't fight. The news of the Mountain Gaze's appearance had spread throughout the universe. Recently, the vast void was filled with all kinds of flying magic artifacts. These flying magic artifacts only had one direction, and that was the Mountain Gaze. Some experts in the Jiaoyang realm headed directly to the Mountain Gaze. Those who weren't in the Jiaoyang realm headed there through heavens beyond. The gate of creation was about to open, and Dao integration realm experts had to participate. Otherwise, they would lose their Dao opportunities. Those who could cultivate to Dao integration were all people with sufficient opportunities and strong perseverance. No one would be willing to give up the opportunity to fight for the gate of creation, let alone their own Dao opportunities. Very few people didn't want to participate in the gate of creation unless they left the five-element universe and entered another universe. In fact, this was equally unrealistic. It wasn't that Dao integration realm's sacred emperors couldn't enter other universes, but it was extremely difficult. Ning Cheng had already taken out the starry sky wheel and left heavens beyond with everyone to head to the Mountain Gaze. I wonder if the idiom Mountain Gaze kills a horse came from this Mountain Gaze, Ning Ruolin, who was standing next to Ning Cheng, said as she looked at the Mountain Gaze in the distance. After Ning Cheng left heavens beyond with the starry sky wheel, it only took him a few days to reach the Jiaoyang mountain. However, they had been flying from the Jiaoyang mountain to the Mountain Gaze for a month, but the Mountain Gaze still only had an outline. Xiao Xinshi said with a smile, in fact, going to the Mountain Gaze is just a process. I heard that top-notch flying Dharma treasures can reach the Mountain Gaze before the gate of creation opens. Ordinary flying Dharma treasures suddenly arrive before the Mountain Gaze opens. During the process of heading to the Mountain Gaze, one can advance by comprehending the clear heaven-earth Dao rune laws. Xiao Xinshi was right. In fact, after the starry sky will pass the Jiaoyang mountain, the extremely rich heaven-earth law aura made many people start to cultivate in seclusion. More people headed to the Mountain Gaze, perhaps wanting to use the process to cultivate and comprehend. Daoist Xiao, you should know about the slaughter world, right? I've been there once, Ning Cheng asked. Ning Cheng asked. Although he was the strongest person here, he didn't know much about the opening of the Gate of Good Fortune compared to Xiao Xinshi. Xiao Xinshi nodded and said, I know about the slaughter world of the God's Tomb Mound. The first time the Gate of Creation opened, all the places in front of the Mountain Gaze were slaughter worlds. After the Gate of Creation closed, the slaughter world of the God's Tomb Mound hid. I only know that it's in the God's Tomb Mound, but I don't know its specific location. Even if it's to enter the slaughter world, there must be a fortuitous encounter. Chapter 1516. Hey, it's you? Ha! A sudden laugh rang out in the distance. Ning Cheng's gaze swept over and saw a top-grade airship with a person standing at the front. This person looked like a youth, but he had a head of snow-white hair. There were too many airships and flight-type weapons on the way to the Mountain Gaze. Ning Cheng naturally didn't care who was inside each flight-type weapon. He didn't know this teenager either, but he recognized his voice. The voice in the void when he was trapped in the God's Graveyard Mound and the Slaughter World was exactly the same as this teenager's. Coupled with the fact that this person knew him, Ning Cheng guessed that this person was the one who had traded with him when he was trapped in the Slaughter World in the God's Graveyard Mound. So it's you. It looks like the stainless water I traded with you helped you a lot. Not only did your body solidify, but you're also ready to go to the Mountain Gaze to compete for the Gate of Fortune. Ning Cheng looked at the white-haired teenager approaching him and spoke in a calm tone. The white-haired teenager smiled. You're not bad yourself. I witnessed you step into Dao integration. When I saw you again today, you had already stepped into the third step creation realm. After Ning Cheng grafted the creation wood in his realm, the Tao charm around him became even more ordinary. No matter where he went, the Taoist rhymes around him seemed to merge with the space around him. There was nothing strange about him. Because of this, the white-haired teenager paused when he said that Ning Cheng was a creation realm expert. He also wondered if Ning Cheng was a creation realm expert. My name is Wang Baigong. May I know how to address you, Tao friend? The white-haired teenager wasn't sure about Ning Cheng's strength, so he curbed his previous arrogance and cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng. So it's Tao friend Wang. Tao friend can just call me Ning Cheng. Did Tao friend Wang just come out of the slaughter world, or did you come out a long time ago? Ning Cheng could tell that Wang Baigong was extremely powerful. Wang Baigong estimated that he could kill Mountain Gaze Tao Lord in seconds. Thanks to Tao friend Ning, I came out after I solidified my body. After that, I obtained some opportunities in the God's Graveyard Mound and went into seclusion there. After that, Wang Baigong looked at Ning Cheng from head to toe and suddenly said, Tao friend Ning, I saw Mysterious Yellow Holy Master not long ago. I thought Mysterious Yellow Holy Master would come looking for you. I didn't expect you to come out unscathed. I admire you. He had experienced the first battle of creation, so he naturally knew where the mound of the god's graveyard had good things and where the cave residences were left behind. Therefore, during these years of seclusion, not only had his cultivation recovered, it had even reached a higher level. Hearing Wang Baigong say that he had seen the mysterious yellow Gaian, Ning Cheng's heart moved and immediately asked, May I ask Tao friend Wang, where is he? Xianhuang Gaian had plotted against him and almost killed him. If this fellow also went to the Mountain Gaze, Ning Cheng would never spare Xianhuang Gaian. Wang Baigong had been observing Ning Cheng's expression. When he saw Ning Cheng's expression change after hearing about the mysterious yellow Holy Master, he became more and more sure that Ning Cheng was afraid of the mysterious yellow Holy Master finding him. Mountain, this guy went to go to Mountain to Creation to compete for the creation. After all, Ning Cheng had only reached Tao unification a few 100,000 years ago. Thinking of this, Wang Baigong calmly spoke up, Tao friend Ning, I have an idea. Tada. Ning, Tao, I Cheng. I, friend. Tao. Tao friend Ning, why don't you trade the mysterious yellow bead with me? I'll keep it for you. Then, I'll tell you where mysterious yellow Holy Master went. He won't be able to find you. After Wang Baigong finished, he looked at Ning Cheng and waited for an answer. Ning Cheng looked at Wang Baigong in a daze. He finally understood why Wang Baigong had laughed when he saw him and was in an extremely happy state. It turned out that this guy wanted his mysterious yellow bead. When he saw Ning Cheng, he thought that the mysterious yellow bead was his. This guy didn't make a move as soon as he arrived. Maybe it was because he had grafted the creation wood and merged the creation wood with his own realm. His strength couldn't be seen through, so he didn't dare to make a move. Xiao Xinxi's voice reached Ning Cheng's ear in time. Brother Ning, I've heard of this person. He's very powerful. During the creation war, we were just on the edge, but he could enter. Ning Cheng laughed in his heart. Wasn't it obvious? Wang Baigong was in the god's graveyard mound, while Xiao Xinxi was in the god's graveyard mound. Brother Ning, what do you think? Seeing that Ning Cheng didn't answer, Wang Baigong asked again, this time with a stronger voice. I don't think so. Ning Cheng's voice paused and suddenly rushed out of the starry sky wheel. He stopped a speedily moving airship. Ning Cheng's Tao charm blocked the airship. It felt as if it had hit the edge of an invisible wall. After a violent tremor, it suddenly stopped. Ning Cheng, what do you want? The airship's restriction opened, revealing Xianhuang Gaian. Behind Xianhuang Gaian, there were more than a dozen powerhouses that Ning Cheng didn't know. From the looks of it, these were Xianhuang Gaian's helpers. Ning Cheng raised his hand, and the creation divine spear appeared in it. What do I want? What did you guys want when you plotted against me in the chaotic inner realm? Don't worry, I'll deal with you today. In a few days, I'll look for those two idiots, Tao Lord Strength and Tao Lord Five Colors. Wang Baigong, who had been pressuring Ning Cheng, suddenly opened his mouth wide. He had always thought that Ning Cheng was avoiding Xianhuang Gaian, but now it seemed that it wasn't the case at all. In fact, It seemed that Xian Huangyan was afraid of Ning Cheng and was hiding from him. Wen Baigong naturally understood Xian Huangyan's strength. Even if Xian Huangyan wasn't as strong as it was during the First Good Fortune War, Xian Huangyan was still stronger than Wen Baigong. Xian Huangyan saw Ning Cheng acting so afraid. Not only did he not mention the mysterious yellow bead, but he even asked Ning Cheng what he wanted. He had just provoked Ning Cheng and wanted Ning Cheng to hand over the mysterious yellow bead. It was simply courting death. Even if Wen Baigong had already closed his boundary, he still felt a chill down his spine. He didn't even dare to leave. In this place, if a Dao Lord stronger than mysterious yellow holy master wanted to chase him, where could he escape to? As if sensing the dispute here, the surrounding spaceships continued to approach. At this time, no one would miss a fight between powerhouses. There were too many benefits to watching such a fight between powerhouses. One could know how strong the powerhouses competing for the Good Fortune Gate were and feel the gap between their own strength and theirs. Another benefit was that one could learn a lot of things from watching. Is that mysterious yellow holy master? Someone in the crowd had already recognized Xian Huangyan. Xian Huangyan was famous. Even if he disappeared after the First Good Fortune War, his prestige still spread in the vast universe. Who dares to clash with mysterious yellow holy master? Does he not want to live? This guy will probably die before he sees the Good Fortune Gate open. Shut up. Let's figure out who is blocking whose path first. Hey, who the hell is that? Who dares to block mysterious yellow holy master's path? Idiot, Dao Lord Ning doesn't even know. The one who blocked mysterious yellow holy master's path is Dao Lord Ning of Heavens Beyond. Do you understand? Many onlookers were talking about it. Wen Baigong, who was controlling the airship, now knew that Ning Cheng had a great background. Two more flying Dharma treasures stopped not far from Xian Huangyan's flying Dharma treasure. One person walked out of each Dharma treasure. Dao Lord Ning wants to take advantage of Dao Friend Gaian's perilous situation before his Dao runes are about to be perfected? I, Qin Mutian, can't stand such shameless behavior. The man who stood out of one of the airships was Qin Mutian. His words were completely flattering to Xian Huangyan. How could Xian Huangyan's Dao runes not be perfected? At this time, Qin Mutian's Dao runes were solid and round, and no edges could be seen. Ning Cheng had an illusion that Qin Mutian was like him. He seemed to have a top-notch life force tree that had fused with his realm. Ning Cheng also knew the person who walked out of the other flying Dharma treasure. She was also the person he had always wanted to kill, the owner of the Green Lotus of Creation, Xing Shi. Xing Shi's snow-white bare feet stepped on the Green Lotus of Creation. Green and white intersected, exuding a faint fragrance. Her Green Lotus was indeed completely fused. There were a total of 12 petals, and not a single corner was missing. Poor Chu Wujian. He didn't even know how he died. Big Brother Mutian, this person is best at taking advantage of people's difficulties. It's not the first time he did that. Back in the chaotic void, because of his plot against me, I lost a Green Lotus seed. Xing Shi glanced at Ning Cheng coldly before turning back to Qin Mutian. Ning Cheng didn't care about Xing Shi's words at all. What he thought of was the Green Lotus seed that Xing Shi mentioned. No wonder Xing Shi could recover so quickly even after he split her in half. She didn't even leave behind any sequelae. It turned out to be the effect of the Green Lotus seed. This was the first time Ning Cheng heard that the Green Lotus of Creation could produce Green Lotus seeds. It was already a good fortune treasure. Ning Cheng didn't even need to think about it to guess how precious the Green Lotus seed would be. After Qin Mutian and Xing Shi stood up, the onlookers subconsciously retreated further. Many people didn't know Xing Shi, but not many people didn't know the Green Lotus under Xing Shi's feet. This was the Green Lotus of Creation. The owner of the Green Lotus of Creation, wasn't that Sacred Lord Green Lotus? As for Qin Mutian, Sacred Lord Green Lotus called him Big Brother, so how could this person be bad? Ning Cheng immediately understood that Qin Mutian and Xing Shi had formed an alliance. As for Xian Huangyan, who had lost the mysterious yellow bead and lost a lot of strength, he guessed that it was their little brother. Ning Cheng suddenly laughed. Qin Mutian, your lover used to be that Zhu Yinghua. I didn't expect Zhu Yinghua to go to the West to sleep as a monk, and you found a woman with athlete's foot who doesn't wear shoes. These feet, oh, they stink. Ning Qing knew that there was nothing between Qin Mutian and Xing Shi, so he deliberately said that. He couldn't see through Qin Mutian's strength. Plus Xing Shi, he really didn't have any other powerhouses on his side. Puchi. A woman's chuckle came from the crowd. Apparently, Ning Cheng's words were a bit too vicious. Xing Shi stepped on the green lotus barefoot, and only a fragrance came out. How could there be any athlete's foot smell? Qin Mutian sneered, and the void around him suddenly turned into two black and white shadows that covered the starry sky wheel. Ning Qing became furious. This fellow actually wanted to turn the starry sky wheel into dust. Chapter 15-17. Ning Qing retreated a few feet and punched out. Dozens of distorted fist marks suddenly appeared in the black and white void, crushing towards the starry sky wheel. Each fist mark seemed to tear open a separate layer of space, sweeping up terrifying Dao runes that filled the sky. Boom boom, the sound of the Dao runes exploded, stirring up the void formed by the black and white symbols and the countless Dao runes created by Ning Qing, forming a huge hollow vortex in the void. As long as the spiritual consciousness of the spectators got close to this hollow vortex, it would be swept away and disappear without a trace. The violent Dao runes continued to spread, and the spectators, who had already retreated far away, retreated even further. Most people no longer had the mood to chat. Facing such a violent attack, not to mention resisting, it would be difficult for them to even get close. If everyone competing for the Gate of Fortune was this kind of powerhouse, then it would have nothing to do with them. The sound of the void collapsing continued. When the Dao runes created by Ning Cheng's fist disappeared, the black and white void formed by Qin Mutian's black and white symbols also disappeared without a trace. Ning Qing stared at Qin Mutian calmly. He didn't bring out the creation divine spear just now because he was afraid that Xing Shi would attack. He didn't expect Xing Shi to not take the initiative to attack. However, through this exchange, he also understood Qin Mutian's strength. The dozens of distorted fist marks were based on the fusion of his traceless collapse and Yi Mo's falling mark blade rune. To be precise, he didn't use his full strength just now. In fact, he only used half of his strength. Ning Qing felt sure that Qin Mutian used at least 80% of his strength in that blow. After that one move, Ning Qing knew that he was stronger than Qin Mutian. Thinking back to when he was far inferior to Qin Mutian, to when he could barely fight against Qin Mutian, and now, to when he could suppress Qin Mutian, Ning Qing had the most profound experience. The reason why he didn't use his full strength wasn't because he wanted to show mercy to Qin Mutian. In addition to wanting to know the extent of Qin Mutian's strength, he also knew that even if he used his full strength, he wouldn't be able to kill Qin Mutian. At most, he would only injure Qin Mutian. Most importantly, he had to be wary of Xing Shi's sneak attacks. Now that he and Qin Mutian seemed to be evenly matched, Xing Shi would definitely not make a move. Once he used his full strength, Xing Shi would either sneak attack the starry sky wheel or sneak attack him. Ning Qing understood this woman too well. Before anyone could restrain Xing Shi, Ning Qing would not go all out to kill Qin Mutian. Letting Qin Mutian suffer some light injuries was meaningless to him. He would also expose his strength. The true battle of life and death was not here, but when the Gate of Fortune opened. At that time, the more trump cards he had, the better. The less others understood his strength, the more advantageous it would be for him. Qin Mutian calmly looked at the center of the Dao rune fluctuation that had yet to completely dissipate. The whirlpools and the cracked void were slowly closing up. He suspected that Ning Qing had not even used 60% of his strength, while he had used 80% of his strength. What shocked him the most was why Ning Qing had become so powerful. One had to know that he had obtained the creation wood nail, fused it with the primordial Dao charm, and then found a way to obtain the vitality of the creation wood within the creation wood nail and fuse it with his domain. Only then did his strength skyrocket. Previously, Ning Qing was definitely not as strong as him, so how could his strength skyrocket in such a short period of time? Looking at Ning Qing's casual punch, which turned into a spirit technique, It showed that he had reached the realm of casually walking the Dao. When Qin Mutian thought of casually walking the Dao, he suddenly had a feeling that he was about to be caught, but he was just a little bit away. Dao Lord Ning truly has some skill. To think that you could block a casual strike of mine with all your strength. Qin Mutian's mouth showed a hint of sarcasm as he put aside that feeling. Ning Qing sneered. Qin Mutian might have looked like a casual strike, but that Dao rune fluctuation definitely wasn't a casual strike. Although it looked like he had used all his strength to block it, it was actually just a casual strike. Qin Mutian understood this truth. Since this fellow had deliberately said it, it meant that he wanted to recruit people. With so many onlookers here, Qin Mutian could use this battle to easily attract some rogue cultivators and some sect teams to join his alliance. I hope that when the Gate of Fortune opens, Dao Lord Ning can still block my twin symbols. After saying that, Qin Mutian put away the twin symbols and prepared to retreat to his flight-type weapon. The Good Fortune Divine Spear in Ning Cheng's hands suddenly shot out, and the spear intent transformed into a huge wave that crashed towards Qin Mutian. Qin Mutian, you sneak-attacked my starry sky wheel, and you want to retreat so easily? Don't even dream about it. At this moment, the spear intent turned solid. Even the powerhouses around could see the raging waves clearly. This was the spirit technique that Ning Cheng had comprehended in the Milky Way, heaven waves rolling. Before he had grafted the world tree, his heaven waves rolling was just a kind of divine ability that seemed right, but was actually not. But now, Ning Cheng's heaven waves rolling had directly turned the spear intent into a real wave of void spear intent. Qin Mutian was secretly horrified. Ning Cheng was too strong. This spirit technique was simply a piece of cake. He thought back to when he felt that Ning Cheng's spirit technique had reached the realm where he could walk his Dao at will. But when he saw Ning Cheng's move, he finally understood. This was because he had mastered his own Dao. Only then would he be able to walk his Dao at will. In other words, as long as Ning Cheng wanted to move, his Dao would be there. Thinking of this, Qin Mutian's mind shook. He finally understood why he wasn't as good as Ning Cheng. It wasn't that his qualifications weren't as good as Ning Cheng's, nor was it that his opportunities weren't as good as Ning Cheng's, but his Dao wasn't as good as Ning Cheng's. He had always thought that the supreme Dao was what he pursued. As long as the Dao existed, he, Qin Mutian, would be there. He had always been chasing after the Dao. But Ning Cheng let the Dao follow his thoughts. Wherever Ning Cheng was, the Dao would be there. The Dao followed Ning Cheng. This was the difference. Once he understood it, it was like a giant drum roaring in Qin Mutian's mind, causing Qin Mutian to break out in cold sweat. If this continued, wouldn't it mean that he could never compare to Ning Cheng? At this time, Ning Cheng's heaven waves rolling had completely rolled over. He didn't have time to think about it. The black and white twin symbols blasted out. Endless Dao charm fused with the black and white twin symbols and faced Ning Cheng's spear intent waves head-on. Everyone could see that Ning Cheng had gone all out this time. Even Qin Mutian thought that Ning Cheng wanted to seriously injure him this time. He also knew that he had wasted some time due to the enlightenment, but he wasn't afraid. With his strength, even if he couldn't compare to Ning Cheng, he wouldn't be crushed and killed by Ning Cheng. At most, he would suffer some injuries and leave. Bang bang. Boom. When the Dao charm collided, the laws continued to shatter, and the void once again blasted out a vortex of cracks. Qin Mutian felt that something was wrong. Ning Cheng seemed to be attacking him crazily. He felt that Ning Cheng's counterattack this time wouldn't be much stronger than the punch just now. Moreover, Ning Cheng's Good Fortune Divine Spear seemed to have been taken away the moment it collided with his Dao charm. Ning Cheng's strength definitely wasn't limited to this. The only reason was that Ning Cheng was conserving his strength. When Qin Mutian saw Xing Shi and Xian Huangyan attack at the same time, he finally understood why Ning Cheng had held back. Qin Mutian sighed. Reminding him at this time was completely meaningless. His black and white twin symbols formed a black and white void that swept towards Ning Cheng's heaven waves rolling spirit technique. At the same time, a pitch-black nail cut through the black and white void and Ning Cheng's heaven waves rolling, directly piercing Ning Cheng's glabella. This was his creation wood nail. He had extracted the vitality of the creation wood, but he used this creation wood nail as a sneak attack weapon. Ning Cheng's mind wasn't on Qin Mutian at this time. The person he wanted to kill the most was actually Xing Shi. This woman was so powerful and vicious that even Yu Qing had almost been destroyed by her. He was sure that when he and Qin Mutian fought, this woman wouldn't let go of the opportunity. Ning Qing didn't guess wrong. When he brought out Heaven Waves Rolling, Xing Shi's infinite pain sword had already turned into a red light that split the void between her and Ning Cheng and arrived in front of Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng, who had long been ready to kill Xing Shi, knew that his plan had failed when he saw Xing Shi's sword. If he went all out, he might be able to severely injure Xing Shi, but he definitely wouldn't be able to kill her. Xing Shi's sword contained endless slaughter aura. Dao charm surged, and the laws of slaughter no longer had anything to do with the surrounding heaven and earth. If he counted Xing Shi's good fortune green lotus, he might not even be able to severely injure Xing Shi. Xing Shi was already a star and had formed her own great Dao laws. While feeling Xing Shi's strength, Ning Qing gave up the idea of killing Xing Shi and decided to kill the weakest Xianhuang Gaian first. The good fortune divine spear intent also turned into a spear line that directly met the infinite pain sword's red light. At the same time, all of Ning Cheng's Dao charm turned into a finger and blasted towards Xianhuang Gaian. Even if Qin Mutian and Xing Shi besieged him, he had to kill Xianhuang Gaian. Compared to him, Xianhuang Gaian's current strength wasn't enough. But after the gate of good fortune opened, Xianhuang Gaian would definitely be a huge hidden danger. Among the people around him, no one could fight against Xianhuang Gaian at all. The good fortune divine spear intent and the infinite pain sword light collided. The surrounding heaven and earth laws shattered once again, and countless cracks appeared in the void. Coupled with the battle between Ning Cheng and Qin Mutian. At this moment, the void around Ning Cheng's body almost collapsed. Ning Cheng felt slightly relieved. He was afraid that Xing Shi would go all out. From the killing sword light coming from the infinite pain sword, Ning Cheng could clearly feel that Xing Shi didn't use her full strength this time. At this time, Ning Cheng almost didn't hold back and blasted towards Xianhuang Gaian. Wherever the law-breaking finger passed, all the heaven and earth laws disappeared and then transformed into a new law aura. Although the four people exchanged blows one after another, they all seemed to be fighting at the same time. After Ning Cheng pointed with his finger, even the onlookers could see that Ning Cheng wanted to deal with Xianhuang Gaian with all his strength. Boom! Gotcha! The law-breaking finger's shadow slammed into the mysterious yellow steel brought out by Xianhuang Gaian, and the Dao charm of the laws around the mysterious yellow steel completely overflowed. Then, Ning Cheng's finger shadow fell in the middle of the mysterious yellow steel, and the mysterious yellow steel made a cracking sound. Xianhuang Gaian's heart sank, and he felt his scalp go numb. Even if Ning Cheng obtained the primordial chaos Dao charm, he didn't expect that Ning Cheng could shatter his mysterious yellow steel with a finger. The mysterious yellow steel was the steel inscription in the mysterious yellow bead. How could Ning Cheng shatter it? Did Ning Cheng's Dao laws already control the mysterious yellow bead? How was this possible? Chapter 1518. The sky full of heaven and earth Taoist rhymes exploded, and the heaven and earth tablet was shattered by a single finger. Xianhuang Gaian's heart was like dead ashes. Her will to stand at the peak of the great Tao, even if she reincarnated countless times, had completely collapsed at this moment. All along, he was most proud of and relied on the mysterious yellow bead. Even if Ning Cheng took away the mysterious yellow bead, he still believed that he could rely on the mysterious yellow steel to stand at the peak. Not because of anything else, but because he cultivated the mysterious yellow formless. This was a supreme good fortune cultivation method that originated from the mysterious yellow bead. Moreover, the mysterious yellow steel was the symbol of the mysterious yellow bead. Even if Ning Cheng possessed the mysterious yellow bead, as long as he did not have the mysterious yellow steel, he would not be considered to have the complete possession of the mysterious yellow bead. One day, he would be able to take it back. In other words, the mysterious yellow bead was his faith. After losing the mysterious yellow bead, he placed all his faith in the mysterious yellow tablet. But now, Ning Cheng's finger had shattered the mysterious yellow steel, causing all the grand Tao in his heart to start collapsing. Like an avalanche, it completely collapsed. At this moment, Xianhuang Gaian watched the Xianhuang tablet turn into countless fragments, and then the countless fragments turned into powder that filled the space before disappearing into the vast void. Xianhuang Gaian was completely stunned. Perhaps he did not have the ability to resist Ning Cheng's finger, or perhaps he was not willing to resist Ning Cheng's finger. Why is that? Seeing that Ning Cheng's finger had already arrived in front of him, Xianhuang Gaian unconsciously muttered. Ning Cheng understood the meaning of the mysterious yellow Gaian as he lightly spoke, because you are a slave of the mysterious yellow bead, while I am the one who controls the mysterious yellow bead. This is the difference. Saying this sentence, Ning Cheng felt even more relaxed in his heart. When he first obtained the mysterious yellow bead, he was also a slave to the mysterious yellow bead. But now, the mysterious yellow bead was just a world in his hands, a weapon, or even a medicine garden. I understand. Xianhuang Gaian suddenly had an epiphany. The unwillingness and doubts in his eyes disappeared without a trace, and his whole body became relaxed. He had no regrets about his loss. There was no reason to blame others. He had this opportunity earlier than Ning Cheng, but he actually wasted this opportunity. He shouldn't always think about others helping him to perfect the mysterious yellow bead. If he could do it all over again, he would definitely try to perfect the mysterious yellow bead himself. Even if he had to go through many hardships, even if it took him billions of years, he would still be willing to do it. He was sure that once he perfected the mysterious yellow bead once again, he would be able to comprehend its true essence. His scheming and desire to take shortcuts had ruined him. There was no shortcut to the Tao. He didn't regret it, because he understood this principle. To learn the Tao in the morning, one could die in the evening. This was the truest portrayal of his heart at this moment. Bang! The bloody mist exploded, and the Xianhuang Gaian turned into nothingness, disappearing into the void. Ning Cheng's faint voice arrived. For the sake of your enlightenment, I will let you reincarnate. After saying this, Ning Cheng pinched his finger, and the builder wood nail that cut through all space slowed down in front of Ning Cheng. Not waiting for Ning Cheng to raise his hand to grab the creation wood nail, Qin Mutian's black and white double symbols transformed into a black and white space that wrapped around the creation wood nail and disappeared without a trace. Qin Mutian knew very well that Ning Cheng had killed the Xianhuang Gaian and stopped his creation wood nail. As such, he no longer had a chance to deal with Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng looked down at his fingers and muttered to himself, "This holy Buddha Chu Pu really has a few tricks up his sleeves. I just casually simulated it because of my Tao, but it had such a great effect. Once that monk understands the truth that there is no flower to be picked, can I still block this pinch?" She also put away the Avicii sword. She knew Ning Cheng's strength, and this move was just a test. Compared to the Gate of Good Fortune, the grudges between her and Ning Cheng were nothing. It was just that the result of the test made her feel even colder. Back in the witch realm, Ning Cheng's strength had already reached an outrageous level. But now, she could feel that Ning Cheng had grown several levels stronger than before. Although she had formed her own great Tao of slaughter laws and her strength had skyrocketed, she still couldn't compare to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng landed on the starry sky wheel. It wasn't that he didn't want to fight, but that he couldn't. Qin Mutian and She stood in a corner, apparently ready to fight him to the death. At this moment, the Gate of Good Fortune was about to open, and it was unwise to fight Qin Mutian and She in this place. What's more, there were too many people who wanted his life. He could already feel the aura of Tao Lord Karma. Not everyone knew Ning Cheng's name, but there were still many people who knew him. Now that Ning Cheng had killed Xianhuang Gaian, Holy Master Xianhuang, the surroundings fell silent. Some people who didn't want to cause trouble before the Gate of Good Fortune opened started their flight-type weapons and continued to head towards the mountain gaze. As for Wang Baigong, he felt even colder. When he saw Xianhuang Gaian's attitude towards Ning Cheng, he felt a little flustered. But now, Ning Cheng had killed Xianhuang Gaian with a finger attack. If Ning Cheng wanted to kill him, where could he escape to? Fortunately, Ning Qing didn't look for him. Everyone, disperse. The mountain gaze is getting clearer and clearer, and the gate of good fortune is about to open. There's no need to gather here. A calm voice sounded, and a man with light eyebrows and a black beard walked out of a flight-type weapon. It was Dao Lord Karma, whom Ning Qing had been wary of. Although many people didn't know Dao Lord Karma, they knew that this person was not ordinary when they saw Dao Lord Karma telling everyone to disperse at this time. The short battle ended with Xian Huangyan's death. Everyone acted as if nothing had happened. They continued to drive their flight-type weapons towards the mountain gaze. Ning Qing didn't feel relaxed after killing Xian Huangyan. Xian Huangyan's strength wasn't even as good as when the gate of good fortune opened for the first time. Even Xing Shi was far weaker than him. Killing Xian Huangyan would only reduce the number of people secretly targeting him. It would hardly affect the competition for the gate of good fortune. The starry sky will sped up and soon passed many flight-type weapons. After the previous battle, no matter how fast the starry sky wheel was, no one dared to stop it. Ning Qing wanted to reach the mountain gaze as soon as possible, find the Tao abyss, and improve the strength of the people around him. A few months passed by in a flash. There were no other flight-type weapons around the starry sky wheel, but the mountain gaze could still be seen with the naked eye. Brother Xiao, how many years after the first appearance of the gate of good fortune? Ning Qing finally couldn't help but ask Xiao Xinshi beside him. Xiao Xinshi shook her head. At that time, we could only stay on the periphery. I followed behind Dao Lord Fate. When the gate of good fortune opened, our spiritual consciousness couldn't sweep in at all. That battle lasted for many years. I guess it should have opened within 100 years after the mountain gaze fully appeared. After saying that, Xiao Xinshi seemed to think of something and said, some people say that only top-grade flight-type weapons can reach the mountain gaze before the gate of good fortune opens. But I also heard that the faster you go, the harder it is to reach the mountain gaze. I don't know which of these two statements is correct. A top-grade flight-type weapon is naturally fast. But why can't one reach it even faster? Hearing this sentence, Ning Qing felt as if a dazzling bolt of lightning flashed through his heart. He didn't think that Xiao Xinshi was talking nonsense. Sometimes haste makes waste. Ning Qing quickly stopped the starry sky wheel and said to everyone in the starry sky wheel, I'm going to put away the starry sky wheel. The mountain gaze most likely can only be reached with one's own feet. Let's meet at the mountain gaze. After saying this, Ning Qing was even more convinced that he hadn't made a mistake. To reach the mountain gaze, one didn't rely on speed, but on perception and opportunities. One couldn't rely on others to bring them there, but on one's own. Otherwise, some people wouldn't suddenly arrive at the mountain gaze after the gate of good fortune opened. Along the way, everyone's strength had improved greatly. However, they were still a little short of reaching the third step. Everyone was eager to reach the mountain gaze first and then advance by one level. Now that Ning Qing asked everyone to walk by themselves, no one raised any objections. Sometimes, putting the road under one's own feet would give one a more solid feeling. Everyone left the starry sky wheel, greeted each other, and headed towards the mountain gaze. After Ning Qing took the first step, he became even more certain that his Tao was still a little short. Maybe after he crossed the integration realm and stepped into the creation realm, he could clearly feel how many steps were left in the mountain gaze. No, the mountain gaze would be under his feet at that time. Ning Qing wasn't in a hurry to understand the distance between him and the mountain gaze, nor was he in a hurry. He was trying to understand why he couldn't reach the mountain gaze. This was a law aura that surpassed all his perceptions. Because this law was above his comprehension, he had no way of understanding what was going on. Kong Zai hadn't expected that he would be the first to reach the mountain gaze after getting off the starry sky wheel. When he stood at the foot of the mountain gaze and couldn't see the top of the mountain gaze even if he looked up, the shock in his heart was indescribable. Kong Zai was a human monarch Tao Lord and had experienced too much. He had never seen such a majestic and boundless peak like the mountain gaze. He could still see some of the outline of the mountain gaze in the distance, but when he reached the foot of the mountain gaze, he still couldn't see the peak of the mountain gaze. Even if he extended his spiritual consciousness out, The mountain gaze peak was still beyond his spiritual consciousness. Kong Zai retracted his spiritual consciousness, and his gaze fell on a huge abyss a few hundred feet away from him. The huge abyss was filled with an endless Tao aura. The extremely clear laws and the divine spirit qi that could even cleanse one's physical body and soul shocked him once again. Was this the mountain gaze Tao abyss? He hadn't cultivated yet, but he could sense that he could advance here just by looking at it. What would happen once he entered the Tao abyss to cultivate? Even though Kong Zai had experienced the first creation war and his temperament had weakened, he couldn't help but take a step forward and land in the Tao abyss. Before he landed, he saw that there were already people cultivating in the Tao abyss. Since no one cared about Kong Zai naturally wouldn't care about anyone else. He chose a spot and started to break through to the integration realm. Kong Zai had just left when 3 people arrived. The last one was Yu Qing. Yu Qing didn't see Kong Zai, but she could also sense the vast peak of the mountain gaze and see the Tao abyss in the distance. The 2 men before Yu Qing didn't hesitate when they saw the Tao abyss, just like Kong Zai. Their entire bodies turned into shadow lines and rushed towards the Tao abyss. Yu Qing was about to rush over when she suddenly thought of something. She stopped and looked at the mountain gaze peak instead. After a few breaths, Yu Qing didn't rush towards the Tao abyss. Instead, she rushed towards the mountain gaze peak. Soon, her figure disappeared without a trace. Chapter 1519. Yu Qing rushed to the mountain gaze but did not go to the Tao abyss. Her intuition told her that a Tao rune aura that far exceeded the Tao abyss was on the mountain gaze. This intuition alone made Yu Qing run toward the top of the mountain gaze for 3 years. Perhaps an ordinary person would have given up halfway and turned to the Tao abyss. Yu Qing's character was to never look back once she set her mind on something. It was just like how she had gone to the time wilderness alone in the past and perished there. It was just like how Jiang Shaqing had left with Xing Shi to cultivate to a certain extent so that Ning Cheng could be reincarnated. Now, she was certain that there was something she wanted to pursue on the mountain gaze. She would not give up even if it took 30 or 3,000 years, let alone 3 years. 5 years later, Yu Qing stopped. The mountain gaze peak still stretched as far as the eye could see above her head. Endless white mist lingered under her feet, and her spiritual senses could not sweep back. She was facing 5 clouds floating in the air. Yu Qing was even more certain that she had been attracted by these 5 clouds. 2 of the 5 clouds were blocked by layers of Tao runes, so Yu Qing's vision and spiritual senses could not penetrate them. Yu Qing hesitated for a moment before taking a step forward and landing on a cloud that she could see clearly. As soon as Yu Qing landed on it, a rich Tao rune aura and law enveloped her. At that moment, Yu Qing felt as if she had been wrapped in mud and had finally fallen into a clear lake. It was extremely comfortable. The mud wrapped around her was washed away by the water of the clear lake. She felt relaxed as if she could clearly see through the essence of heaven and earth. Yu Qing finally understood why she could not see 2 of the 5 clouds clearly. Those 2 clouds were already occupied. She was the 3rd person to come here. A moment later, she was immersed in the endless Tao enlightenment. The law around her became more condensed, and the Tao aura became clearer and more vast. Her cultivation level kept rising. More and more people gathered at the foot of the mountain gaze, but almost everyone went to the mountain gaze Tao abyss the moment they arrived. As time passed, the Tao runes of breakthroughs kept coming from the mountain gaze Tao abyss. Apart from that, none of the experts who broke through experienced heavenly blight. The creation gate was about to open, and the creation Tao aura permeated. All heavenly blight would disappear without a trace. 100 years passed by in a flash. Ning Cheng had not moved a single step since putting away the starry sky wheel 100 years ago. He was trying to comprehend the spatial Tao runes of the mountain gaze. Why could he see the mountain gaze but not reach it? A series of rumbling sounds rang out. Was the gate of fortune about to open? The place he wanted to go wasn't the mountain gaze, but the place where the gate of good fortune was about to open. The creation gate was in front of the mountain gaze, but one did not have to reach the foot of the mountain. There were hundreds of millions of paths to the foot of the mountain gaze. Everyone's path was different, and so was his. Ning Cheng had just figured this out when he felt the laws of heaven and earth around him turning clear. He casually lifted his foot and took a step. When he landed on the ground, he had already arrived at the foot of the mountain gaze. Ning Cheng saw the great Tao abyss, but it didn't attract him at all. The rumbling sounds continued without end, and a vague outline of a gray door appeared in front of Ning Cheng's eyes. The gate of fortune was indeed about to open. While Ning Cheng stared at the gate of fortune, countless people landed at the foot of the mountain gaze, in front of the gate of fortune that was about to open. Ning Cheng saw Yemo, Xing Shi, Qin Mutian, Pan Qian, Itinerant Ji, Tao Lord Primal Chaos, Tao Lord Karma, Tao Lord Star, Tao Lord Strength, Tao Lord Five Color. Ning Cheng didn't know most of them at all. What surprised Ning Cheng was that he couldn't feel the depth of the other party's foundation. Greetings, Tao Lord Ning, Tao Lord Yi, Sacred Lord Green Lotus. The witch race's Sacred Lord, Hong, walked up to Ning Cheng and Yemo with several people, bowed, and then greeted Xing Shi. The witch race was weak, but even if all the people who came to compete for the Gate of Fortune died, the witch race had to participate in this competition. At this moment, Aoken, Ning Rulan Jilufei, and the others also came to Ning Cheng's side. Everyone exchanged a simple greeting before looking at the Gate of Fortune that was slowly appearing. Amitabha, I hope this monk isn't late. A Buddhist chant sounded, and a muscular square-faced monk wearing a holy Buddha crown stepped down from the void. Behind him, there were at least 100 world creation realm powerhouses. Ning Cheng's heart sank. The Western Buddha Lord was already powerful, and now he had so many helpers. There were only a dozen creation realm experts at the third step of the world creation realm by his side. For example, Shi Lin, Feng Huang Mei, and the others who had just advanced, although they were at the third step, their combat power wasn't much. Tao Lord Ning, I still have to thank you. If it wasn't for your original Wu's guidance, I really wouldn't have much confidence. Chu Pu Sage Buddha saw Ning Cheng first and then landed in front of Ning Cheng with a smile. Before Ning Cheng could answer, another crisp voice sounded in the void. You always like to use others, and this isn't the first time. But you, a Western Buddha Lord, actually used a junior. Don't you feel ashamed? As he spoke, a beautiful woman landed. Chu Pu Sage Buddha was slightly taken aback when he saw this woman, and then he chanted again. Amitabha, so it's Palace Master Limitless. Palace Master likes to be alone, and you even came to compete for the Gate of Fortune alone. This monk really admires you. Since Palace Master Limitless is safe and sound, then Heavenly Venerate Styx River and Sacred Lord Light and Darkness must be safe and sound as well. You sneak attacked my Chaos Realm and joined forces to deal with me. Do you think you can all come out unscathed? Don't you think that I, Duomo, am a little inferior? A cold snort sounded, and a fair-skinned teenager landed on the ground. Sacred Lord Five Elements? Are you all right? This time, even Sacred Lord Limitless, who had just arrived, looked surprised. She didn't expect that Sacred Lord Five Elements could participate in the second Gate of Fortune. The fair-skinned teenager snorted again and ignored Palace Master Limitless. Instead, his gaze fell on Ning Cheng. Apart from being a little surprised when he first found out that this fair-skinned teenager was Sacred Lord Five Elements, Ning Cheng had been very calm. These old farts were generally very difficult to kill. Not to mention these old farts, even if he destroyed his physical body, he might not be able to kill him completely. Therefore, when the fair-skinned teenager looked over, Du Mo appeared extremely calm. You're Ning Cheng? The fair-skinned teenager was a little surprised to see Ning Cheng so calm. Ning Cheng said calmly, That's right, I'm Ning Cheng. May I know what advice Sacred Lord Five Elements has for me? When the Gate of Fortune opened, everyone would start fighting. Ning Cheng didn't need to be polite with Sacred Lord Five Elements. Very well, Sacred Lord Five Elements said coldly. Do you know who I hate the most? Ning Cheng frowned slightly. This is my first time meeting you. How would I know who you hate the most? Sacred Lord Five Elements laughed, but his tone didn't contain the slightest hint of a smile. You must think that the people I hate the most are Palace Master Limitless, Western Buddha Lord, Styx River Heavenly Venerate, and Sacred Lord Light and Darkness who attacked me and destroyed my world tree, right? No, the person I hate the most is an ant like you. Ning Cheng didn't react at all. So what if Sacred Lord Five Elements hated him? My chaotic outer world was destroyed by that group of people, and you destroyed my chaotic inner world. My 9 primordial Daos were all snatched away by you, causing me to fail just as I was about to succeed. If I could fuse with the 9 primordial Daos, all of you would be ants. Sacred Lord Five Elements' tone was like an ice cave, without a hint of warmth. Everyone around was shocked when they heard this, including Qin Mutian, Chaos Dao Lord, Karma Dao Lord, and the others who had obtained the primordial Dao runes. If Sacred Lord Five Elements managed to fuse with the 9 primordial Daos, who in this world could be his opponent? Even Sage Buddha Chu Pu frowned and didn't say anything. He couldn't figure out how Sacred Lord Five Elements managed to hide in the chaotic inner world. Ning Cheng came to a realization. He looked at Sacred Lord Five Elements and said calmly, I was wondering why there was a gray aura in that primordial Dao rune. So it was your aura. You really have bad intentions. Fortunately, I sensed it long ago and severed it when I fused with it. Haha. Sacred Lord Five Elements laughed heartily. He pointed at Ning Cheng and said, So what if you severed it? I lost the 9 primordial Daos of the chaotic inner world, but it allowed me to find the one that escaped. When Sacred Lord Five Elements said this, it was as if his entire being had turned into the aura of heaven and earth. His gaze swept across everyone present. The gate of fortune is about to open. Let's see who dares to compete with me. Following which he pointed at Ning Cheng. As for you, Ning Cheng didn't wait for Sacred Lord Five Elements to say anything unpleasant. He said calmly, out of the 49 Daos of Dian, there's only one that escaped. The 9 primordial Daos are formed by heaven and earth. How can one escape? Don't lie to yourself, okay? Boom boom boom. Before Sacred Lord Five Elements could speak, violent rumbling sounds could be heard. A grayish gate became clearer once again. Dao aura that could be seen with the naked eye seeped out of the grayish gate. Some experts knew that comprehending the nomological Dao runes here was no different from courting death. However, they still couldn't stop their desire to comprehend the heaven and earth Dao. Surging Dao runes surged out and became increasingly vast. Several pseudo-world realm experts who had just reached the 3rd step finally lost their minds in the face of this surging Dao rune. They frantically rushed towards the grayish gate. No one stopped them. The surging creation Great Dao directly tore the experts from the pseudo-realm into nothingness and turned everything they had into a trace of the surging Dao rune torrent. At that moment, all the withered things that faced this creation Dao rune began to glow with vitality. All the experts who faced this creation Dao aura felt their cultivation level skyrocket. Chapter 1520. One after another, several powerhouses were killed by the Dao charm of the Gate of Good Fortune. Even though the grand Dao aura of the Gate of Good Fortune grew even more turbulent, no one dared to rush forward. At this moment, everyone stared at the grayish place where the roars came from, and the outline of the giant gate became even clearer. At the edge of the grayish place, a golden light appeared. In the middle of the golden light was a huge gate. Ning Cheng was secretly shocked. He had thought that the Gate of Good Fortune was at most the size of an ordinary gate, but the Gate of Good Fortune he saw was hundreds of feet high and wide. Did such a gate need to be fought over? Everyone could go in at once. Boom, boom. The sound of heaven and earth rumbling rang out continuously. Following a cracking sound, the huge golden gate finally condensed and stood in front of everyone. Behind the gate was the grand Dao aura of the grand Dao of Good Fortune that everyone yearned for. Only a vague outline of the mountain behind the gate could be seen. The majestic and vigorous Dao charm of Good Fortune finally eased up. No one hesitated at all. Almost at the same time, everyone rushed forward. With such a wide gate of Good Fortune, was there a need to fight over it? Whoever could go in first would be the one with the greatest luck. Whoever could go in first would be the one with the greatest luck. Ning Cheng and the others naturally wouldn't fall behind. But the gate of good fortune, which was so close at hand, seemed like a distant mountain at this moment. At this moment, Ning Cheng suddenly heard a catcha sound. This sound seemed to have come from the deepest part of his mind. He subconsciously stopped, and an inexplicable feeling welled up in his heart. He felt as if the place where he was wrapped up by something, which reminded Ning Cheng of the slaughter realm of the god's tomb mound. When he first appeared in the slaughter realm, wasn't the slaughter realm also a realm wrapped in something? Could it be that the gate of good fortune opened to imprison everyone who competed for the gate of good fortune in a realm and then kill each other? As Ning Cheng thought of this, his heart turned cold. He saw the hundreds of feet wide gate of good fortune shrinking, as if the gate was slowly closing. Ning Cheng wasn't the only one who discovered it. Many others also discovered it. How many people standing in front of the gate of good fortune were weak? Not to mention Qin Mutian, Tao Lord Primal Chaos, and the others. They rushed towards the gate of good fortune even more crazily. Because the gate of good fortune kept shrinking, the gate of good fortune kept shrinking. Ning Cheng looked up and saw Qin Mutian, Xing Shi, Yimo, even powerhouses like Palace Lord Wu Yang and Five-Element Sacred Lord were all charging towards the shrinking gate of fortune. Ning Cheng instantly understood that he was not the only one who understood this point. All the powerhouses present understood this point. They also knew that if they wanted to leave the gate of fortune that was closing, they would have to charge out of the slowly shrinking gate. Ning Cheng took a deep breath and finally understood why everyone wanted to be the first to rush out of the gate of good fortune. Ning Cheng took in a deep breath. He finally understood why everyone wanted to be the first to rush out of the gate of fortune. Once they rushed over, the fates of the experts who didn't rush over would be in the hands of the first person who rushed over. The killing grew increasingly intense and people kept getting killed. Various Dao aura attacks and the light from magic treasures grew increasingly chaotic. Even the laws there were beginning to fall into chaos. The Dao and by Lord, the Lord of the Fortune, started to look. Is this the Dao we are pursuing? Ning Cheng looked at the door that was gradually becoming smaller, and felt a trace of loss in his heart. By the way, why don't I see Daoist Zixiao? When Ning Cheng thought of Daoist Zixiao, he immediately recalled the words spoken by Daoist Zixiao. The Dao is not the Dao, the human is not the human, pity my generation, how torturous. This kind of competition was indeed cruel and torturous. But how could the purple firmament escape the fight for the gate of fortune? Could he have left the five elements universe? Ao Kan's roar came from afar, causing Ning Cheng to feel shocked. This was not the time to think about old man Purple Heaven's nonsense. For him, the most important thing was to rush out of the gate of good fortune. At the very least, he had to grasp the fate of the people on his side in his own hands. The divine spear of creation swept up layers of spear waves that rolled out like waves. At this time, he had no choice but to kill everything that stood in his way. In the face of this kind of competition, how could Ning Cheng care about whether he had any enmity or not? As long as someone stood in his way, he would kill them in a frenzy. In this place, one could only rely on strength to crush others. There was no logic to speak of. Although the gate of fortune grew smaller and smaller, Ning Cheng could still feel the vast and majestic aura of good fortune. An inexplicable feeling welled up in his heart. As long as he stepped through the gate, he would stand above everything. Any universe, any void, would be under his control. At first, Ning Cheng desperately wanted to rush through the gate and obtain this power to protect the people around him. But with the impact of the slaughter and the Dao charm of good fortune, only one thing remained in Ning Cheng's Dao intent, which was to rush through the gate of fortune at all costs and trample everything under his feet. Master, I saw the matriarch in danger. A timid voice reached Ning Cheng's ears, causing Ning Cheng's mind to tremble, as if he had awakened from the endless slaughter and the pursuit of supreme power. The voice came from Chasing Bull. In order to give Chasing Bull greater potential, Ning Cheng had allowed Chasing Bull's spiritual consciousness to sweep out of the mysterious yellow bead during the fight for the Gate of Fortune. Because of this, Chasing Bull had the opportunity to warn him. Ning Cheng's footsteps paused, and his spiritual consciousness swept out. The next moment, he saw a white light piercing through Yan Ji's chest. Yan Ji. Ning Cheng's heart turned cold. At this moment, how could he still care about the Gate of Fortune? He screamed and rushed towards Yan Ji's position. At this moment, there was slaughter everywhere. Even if he wanted to rush out of this place, he could only kill. Courting death. The black and white twin symbols turned into endless crisscrossing space filled with killing lights that wrapped around Ning Cheng. The one who attacked was Qin Mutian, who had already gone berserk. His eyes were bloodshot, and he didn't hesitate to kill anyone in front of him. But at this moment, Ning Cheng rushed past him. So why would he care about Ning Cheng? Ning Cheng's good fortune divine spear also swept up the Dao charm of spear lights that filled the sky. The spear intense torrent tore apart the crisscrossing black and white space filled with killing lights created by Qin Mutian's symbols. At this moment, how could there be any mercy or mercy? Boom boom boom. Whoosh. The collision of Dao charm and the explosion of laws caused the collapse of space to spread out. Not only Ning Cheng and Qin Mutian, but even the people slightly closer to the two of them were swept away by this collapsing space. It's just that this collapsing space didn't lead to another space. Instead, it led to another location in this space. When the people swept away by the collapsing space were thrown out again, they were only a little further away from the two of them. They couldn't leave this good fortune-killing field. Qin Mutian's Dao charm tore apart, and Ning Cheng's spear intent shattered the laws. He finally sobered up and immediately shouted, "Ning Cheng, don't you want to fight for the Gate of Fortune? Do you really want to fight to the death with me?" Although he said that, Qin Mutian's hands didn't slow down. He brought out a gray stone seal, which also contained two black and white lights. However, compared to his twin symbols, these two black and white lights looked like two abruptly exploding universes. The violent energy and death aura blasted towards Ning Cheng. This was his trump card, the Light and Dark Stone Seal, the weapon that created the Light and Dark Universe. Ning Cheng's good fortune divine spear had just swept up the waves of spear intent when he felt something wrong. The black and white lights of the Light and Dark Stone Seal didn't want to kill him directly. Instead, it formed a black and white chaotic world. It felt like a chaotic inner world that locked him inside. A terrifying and vast cosmic aura erupted from the black and white world of the Light and Dark Stone Seal. The target of this explosion was Ning Cheng, who was locked inside. Ning Cheng quickly calmed down. He knew that even if Qin Mutian wasn't as good as him, he was still a peak powerhouse. Once he fell into Qin Mutian's Light and Dark Stone Seal, even if he didn't die, he would temporarily lose the ability to fight. Losing the ability to fight in this place was no different from dying. At the same time that the black and white world locked inside Ning Cheng erupted, Ning Cheng's anxious mood completely calmed down. He raised his hand and sent out 3 Dao charm laws. 3 stages of time. The highest realm of the 3 stages of time. Time was no longer time. Not only could time shuttles tear everything apart, but time flies like an arrow could also form space. Time reversal could also tear everything apart, and time reversal could also ignore reincarnation. Crack. The black and white world formed by Qin Mutian's Light and Dark Stone Seal began to roll backwards the moment it approached the explosion. It felt as if it was slowly returning to the moment when Qin Mutian first brought out the Light and Dark Stone Seal. At this time, perhaps only a slow-motion replay could clearly depict Qin Mutian's current feelings. Qin Mutian felt his Light and Dark Stone Seal slowly turn back. From forming a black and white space that locked Ning Cheng, it slowly returned to a gap that hadn't formed yet. A vast and boundless aura of time shrouded over, and Qin Mutian saw countless rewinding scenes. Qin Mutian's great Dao heart was firm. In just a moment, he understood that this was caused by Ning Cheng's time spirit technique. His hand seals changed again, and the light and dark aura within the Light and Dark Stone Seal changed once again. Ning Cheng didn't give him another chance. A finger that could shatter all laws shot out from the black and white world and directly landed on Qin Mutian's glabella. The law-breaking finger destroyed everything. Even if it was the laws of the light and dark universe, it would still shatter under Ning Cheng's law-breaking finger. Qin Mutian's glabella shattered, and he sighed softly. Countless years of struggle and countless years of planning, but in the end he still couldn't beat a finger. He had lost. He had lost cleanly. Perhaps when he realized that his great Tao wasn't as good as Ning Cheng's great Tao, he knew that such a moment would come. But now that the moment had really arrived, he felt calm and at ease. Competing for good fortune, failure meant death. His consciousness also slowly dissipated with this finger and finally disappeared from the slowly closing gate of good fortune. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.